Tekken tournament.
All right, ladies and lads, welcome to Heatspeak, episode 5. At least I think it's episode 5. I've lost count at this point, man. We have a legendary cast of guests here today for this Heatspeak. A lot has happened since the last one. My name is Spag, and I'm joined by absolute legends K-Wiz, FDX, Joker, and SpeakX. Now, normally when we do this, no one knows who's going to speak first, so I'll just go with the guy who's new to Heatspeak. K-Wiz, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. I'm fantastic. Season 2 is on the horizon, and we have so much to say about that, don't we?
Absolutely. Oh, we do. We have a very interesting episode for you guys today. Let me know as well, by the way, guys, how everyone's sounding. If anyone needs to be turned up a little bit, if their voice is a little bit low, or a little bit too high. FDX, my friend, returning back to Heatspeak. Thank you so much for joining us. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me. Exciting time. 1 week away.
Absolutely, man. Joker, what are you saying, man?
Good to be here again, man. We have a lot to talk about. I'm very excited to be present with some amazing guests like Speedkicks.
why speaking? Why speaking in particular?
Shout out to Speedkicks, man.
Shout outs to Speakers. Speakers, how you doing, my friend? Returning back to Heatspeak.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me back on here. It's been quite a bit of time, but I hope we can have as much fun as we did last time.
Definitely. All right, man. So as you guys can see in the topics, we're going to be going over Pakistan versus Korea, and we're going to be talking about the Tekken talk that took place, as well as season 2 all in one go, man. So I guess we will start with Pakistan versus Korea, guys. If you missed it, Pakistan versus Korea, one of the best exhibitions that I've been involved with, and one of the best I've ever seen. To
अरे क्या well played यार.
Actually there to see Pakistan.
बुरा मारा उन्होंने.
It was split
वो
over 3 days. So
end में हमेशा दे देते हैं थोड़े
day
matches.
Day 2 and 3 were the actual main tournament, where we had 2 different formats: the Waseda style format and then the Unleashed format. And
वो serious नहीं खेल रहे थे.
Pakistan. This is something that's been, I guess, since 2019.
वरना तो उतने match निकालना बहुत मुश्किल है उनके against.
Because you were there with me in Korea. How did you find that exhibition? And what's your thoughts about everything?
It was crazy, man. The game's a bit stale right now because we've just been waiting for season 2 for a while. But honestly, the exhibition just exceeded my expectations.
ये देखना था यार.
I was there to witness.
तो FT की वजह से late हो गया. आज.
Yeah, man.
Time मिल गया राइन बैक को तो खेल लिया.
There were so many people and casuals in general, like people that have never watched Tekken before, that were present in the crowd, and just being able to speak.
पहली बार तो इतने मैं मैच जीता उनके against.
How did they find out about the event?
तो serious नहीं खेल रहे थे शायद मुझे जो लग रहा है.
It's why regional rivalries are so important, That's
वरना 2-3 ऐसे maximum. इससे ज़्यादा नहीं.
But yeah, shout out to Speedkicks, of course.
Speedkicks, I mean, since you guys actually watched it from home, I'm actually interested, since me and Joker were there. We didn't watch it on stream, but there was a lot of positive kind of feedback when it comes to Pakistan versus Korea.
Ronaldo?
You guys watching from home, how did you find it? Were you able to watch any of it, and how did you find it if you did?
ये कब हुआ?
So I was only able to catch like some of it because of time zones, and I had to like sleep. I can't give up my sleep. I'm getting old, So I could only catch like bits and pieces. I would like wake up, and I would like for the first thing I would do when I would wake up is like rush to hear the results,
SNK
right?
character.
Like who did
Ronaldo?
what, who beat who. If there was a super good match I wanted to catch, like I would go back and like watch it. And I just heard there was literally nothing but like good vibes around it. I don't know. Like everyone was talking about it like it was the Tekken Super Bowl or something.
Tekken Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, it felt like that, man. I think the closer that we got to it, I remember speaking to CBM, and CBM's like,
कहाँ join करना है भाई?
None of us feel really stressed about this.
कहाँ join कर रहे हो?
And then this is like maybe a month out or like 2 months out, and then closer and closer, and CBM messages me and he says, Spag, I think we're gonna lose, man. I'm scared. I was like, what's going on? Where was this urgency before, bro? FDX, I know you watched it from home as well, and you did some content around it. How did you find the event, man?
3v2 कर रहे हैं भाई
It
ये
was
लोग
really
तो.
cool. I think
तीन EU के दो
just
हैं.
on a base level, it was cool to see like Korean esports production. So like that was a really cool treat to see.
Yeah.
Especially for people who don't normally keep up with like the Soup Tekken League and things like that. So I thought that was really sweet. Yeah, the vibes are really, really cool. I think that we in the FGC, we don't get a lot of team style energy. It's always like,
Ronaldo,
this player. I think maybe that contributes to the staleness of it, but also you can tell the players are kind of
Shrek,
different
good
in
night,
the format. Like that you see more moments of nerves. You see the coaching that happens in between. It was funny to me when I think Atif had 2 people coaching him at the
Let's have some fun. For the love of the game.
ये क्या है? इसकी तो नीना वाली थ्रो है. अरे बॉल से मार रहे हैं.
Fatal Fury. City of the Wolves.
PS4 पे भी है. Interesting.
same time, just like you got this, and I was like, this is way more different of a vibe than a solo 1v1. I think on top of that, we got to see the very, very end of the season 1 meta. So I think that most of our tournaments were very front loaded with recent changes and patches and people just kind of swinging as much as they can with their main character, trying to see what's cheap. But by the end of this, we could see that, like, for example, the Koreans had downloaded when Arslan wanted to do a heat burst. So many of his heat bursts got sidestepped and he would get launched for it. I feel like that's the kind of thing you only see sitting with a patch for a decent amount of time, studying your opponents for a long time, and then making those. So that was a really cool meta of Tekken outside of the regular TWT.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, seeing the level these guys were playing at, and I think that was really cool as well to see the Pakistan team because, you know, again, shouts to Bars and all the people that were involved in helping the Pakistanis to come down to Korea because we actually got help from the government, which was really awesome for them to help, you know, get these guys visas. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible, man. So having 7 Pakistanis playing, we were considering to do a 10v10. And I was talking about it with Baz, you know, should we do a 10v10? And then we're like, you know what, let's keep it a 7 because 10
online
might be
right?
a little bit difficult when it comes to the visas, and 7 is a bit more manageable. So at least for the first time, let's try 7v7. And it worked out really well. Kwis, I know you watched it as well. I mean, how did you find Pakistan vs Korea? You yourself have been to Pakistan. You played versus these guys in multiple tournaments. How did you find it, man?
No, it was good. The whole event was sick. I think the only disappointing part for me is like the first 2 days not being really close. Like it was kind of blowouts. And obviously, the first day of actual exhibition of team play, like that not being close was like crazy. Like Korea was getting blown out. But when it was finally close, the final day, like that was my favorite day. I was going back and forth. Like Numan is a
ठीक
demon.
हूँ भाई.
Yeah, I think that's the only he's a demon. He's
अन्नी भाई सो रहे हैं अभी.
crazy. But like yeah, it was a sick event. People been now clamoring for more team events and stuff like that. So I feel like team
सो रहे हैं भाई.
Nations Cup reminds of us Gamers 8. You know, that was a sick event. So I think it was run well. Bars and Soup did a good job. And the only downside was just time zone. Like that was awful to get through.
we started the event every day at 5 p.m. like around 5 p.m. Korean time. So I guess that was the only thing we can kind of do to so that it didn't end too late.
Okay, good night.
There was a live crowd there as well, so you don't want to end it around 10 p.m. every day. And you know, I think, you know, if you're dedicated enough, man, you'll stay up and watch that shit, man. Don't worry about it, man. Bro, Kobe, you watch UFC, bro. You stay up at like 3 a.m., 6 a.m. You can't be complaining about time zone, man. You cannot be complaining about time zones, bro. But, you know, yeah, again, like you said, the first 2 days, I mean, look, the way he played, I think that was probably the biggest story of that day number 1, and maybe one of the exhibition. And I really feel like his form, he started to play a lot better in Tekken 8, not even at that exhibition, but before that as well. I mean, if he had not dropped that combo against Nobi, I really feel like he might have won the LCQ for that Tekken World Tour Finals that we had in Japan as well. I mean, he has been playing a lot better. I mean, getting used to Brian, and I had him on Heatspeak, and I said to him, you know, what changed? And he goes, I just started to, okay, how do I say this? How do I phrase this so that it doesn't sound... he said he started to think less. And maybe that's because Brian is just really strong now. I mean, he has QC back 1 and Kotosaka forward 1 plus 2. What do you guys think? He said he needs. I mean, how have you guys found Knee and the difference between his playstyle now compared to in like the beginning of Tekken 8? Speakers, I'll ask you.
सारे कैरेक्टर्स का
I
अपडेट
mean, yeah,
आएगा.
you can see like he said, turning it like him thinking a little bit less.
न्यू मूव्स मिलेंगे सबको, बाकी नर्व्स या बग्स होंगे जो भी.
Go from the Tekken 7 playstyle where you can kind of let a lot of interactions pass you and like you can take some hits and like he kind of ignores stuff and look for the big hit. When Tekken 8, just the moments you don't make it just hits, and you go from the Tekken 7 playstyle where you can kind of let a lot of interactions pass you and like you can take some hits and like you kind of ignore stuff and look for the big hit. When Tekken 8, the things you don't contest, the moments you don't contest, the moments you don't make a decision, they all add up against you. You have to move faster, right? You have to decide faster. You have to live with your
5
decisions.
दिन और बस सीजन 2.
Historically, as a player, likes to sort of give his opponent like a little bit of time while he figures out the decisions to make. And Tekken 8 now, he's just hitting the button. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, he dies, and he's fine with that. And that's actually really cool to see as an adjustment.
Joe, could you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think it's also. I remember watching the exhibition.
क्लॉडियो का शायद लो हिट स्मैश नॉर्मल मूव बन सकता है हीट में.
I just remember watching that and just seeing Knee not utilize heat at all, man. Like
ये शायद लो हिट स्मैशेस बफ कर रहे हैं, पता नहीं. उन्हें 3-4 बार यूज कर सकते हैं.
That's so important, man, because you can't play Tekken 8 without heat. It's such an important mechanic that the game revolves around, and you just have to make use of it, especially if you're playing a character like Brian.
Yeah.
तो क्लॉडियो का
he's definitely gotten a lot more
शायद लो हिट स्मैश.
beating Arslan 10-2, I think it was, right? And one of Arslan's win was with
हाँ, ये रेना का लो वाला लो हिट स्मैश वो 3 बार यूज कर सकती है शायद.
big blowout when it comes to Knee. I mean, now Knee has the upper hand, it seems like, against Arslan.
अब कंफर्म पैच नोट्स में होगा, वो पता नहीं कब आएंगे.
I just want to ask one final question about this because we all watch Pakistan versus Korea. We need to talk
लार्स को हाँ शायद बफ मिलना चाहिए.
Was there any player aside from Naman? Well, you can say Naman.
अभी पैच नोट्स आए नहीं हैं.
At this exhibition, Kaius, I'll ask you.
You know, it's gonna sound almost silly because of how good he's been historically, but low high. Because like he came in at like a pivotal moment and bro, he bodied Artif. And that's been so those two have been going back and forth for years now. And like bro, when
Division तो बफ हो रहा है.
And Artif is doing 1+2 and he was launching with Japa like
अब काजिया जितना मतलब 8 ईयर हो जाएगा.
He was just in control. Like he was
एस भी हो सकता है, पता नहीं.
to go when Korean
एलसी बहुत अच्छी कर दी है.
step and take his power he did before, but like it sounds he's been so good for so many years, but like the way he played and like he dominated, like it was very impressive considering like he's been playing against his Pakistanis for so long and not really had the upper hand a lot of times.
I agree with that 100%. And one thing about Lohai is, and it's the same as it was in Tekken 7. If you ask the Koreans about Lohai, even ask Lohai himself, this guy plays I think 10 hours or 10 hours plus per day without.
Lars weak है.
This guy just grinds Tekken all the time. And I think he was interviewed recently as well.
हाँ, कॉम्बो डैमेज बढ़ सकता है शायद सारे मिशिमास का, हियाची का छोड़ के. लेवल जिन को बढ़ ही रहा है मुझे लग रहा है. जिन को भी दे दिया है भाई वो जो स्ट्रॉन्ग टेल स्पिन होता है, जो ब्रायन बैक 2-4 मार के करता है ना, वो दे रहे हैं शायद मिशिमास को भी. सिर्फ हियाची के पास ही था. तो जिन डेविल जिन काजिया का देखा नहीं मैंने. रेना को भी दे दिया शायद. आस्का भी बफ हो रही है शायद.
cemented himself as kind of the template for how to play Steve in Tekken 8, at least for Season 1. I wanted to add that regarding Knee, we were like trying to navigate, like he said he's thinking...
तो वॉल कैरी और डैमेज बढ़ेगा. पॉल को भी दे दिया है वो ऐसा ही कुछ.
EVO 2022, in one of his streams after his whole transcript got translated, and his conversation with Chanel, he was saying there are times between games in Tekken 7 too, where he would tell himself, this is not a situation where I need to just keep doing what I was doing and not let my thoughts like slow me down or interfere or change what I'm doing. And I think there's a lot of truth to it. So even though Tekken 8 is a faster game, you have to make fast decisions. I think it's a testament to his experience as a competitor to just know when it's time to not think and know when it's time to...
हेयाजी तो 50% कर सकता है डैमेज हीट स्मैश के बाद, वॉल स्प्लाइट वाला.
No, for sure, man. I mean, that knee in 2022 EVO was probably the best knee that we've seen in Tekken 7. I mean, he was really on...
डेथ कॉम्बो तो मुश्किल है इस गेम में. डेथ कॉम्बो है ही नहीं बिना वॉल.
We both traveled to Pakistan multiple times now, 2021, 2022, and even before that, 2019. And we've seen Noman, and I remember after Takra Cup that we went to, you and him played in a dojo event, and he won that, right, with Paul and Steve. So we know how strong this guy is. Finally making a name for himself, finally showing what he's capable of. Is there anyone else there that really impressed you? And if it's Noman, like what was it about him that impressed you?
I think Noman's starting to get more confident. I think everyone in Pakistan knows how strong he is, his potential and whatnot. But I feel like we didn't really see like a performance from him besides the Pakistan vs Korea exhibition, right? Where did he place in the tournament?
जिन को तो वो दे दिया है फॉरवर्ड 3 लार्स का उस वैसे ही कुछ दे दिया है
It's like 13.
Yeah, like everyone knows like Numan is capable of winning like the Tekken World Tour final, so it's good to see that he's finally got the confidence and whatnot. I think the two other players that stood out for me was the John.
डायनामिक एंट्री टाइप
He closed out some very important wins against Team Korea. I think he beat, was it Ni and Ulsan 2-0?
Ni and Ulsan.
I think it was Ni and Ulsan 2-0, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I think the John, and I also think Farzin. I think Farzin is someone that just continues to just perform at every tournament he goes to, which is just crazy, you know. And I just think he's gonna do really well in
हाँ जो
like,
स्टैंड्स में जाता है ना वैसा ही
the shining star, one of the shining stars.
और फिर जो 4 वाला होमिंग ऑप्शन है जो होमिंग मारता है डायनामिक एंट्री में वो दे दी जिनको
said he's not going to be able to play the game without Akuma. You know, he's a 2D player. Starts off in Tekken with multiple wins over Ni and other top Koreans and top players, and qualifies for the finals, qualifies for EWC. The guy has had a fantastic.
और वो मॉर्निंग क्रो दे दिया है जिन डेविल जिन वाला फॉरवर्ड 3 वो भी.
Can I be biased here as a foreign player and say Edge? Okay. Because they on day one they played Edge in was it first to 5 versus the John?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that matchup is not easy. Okay, the king Horag matchup does not feel good on the Horag side. Yeah, K with nose, look at him. Right? It's not. It does not feel good. I think to play against, who is definitely the best king in the world, right? With John, I don't think there's a better king player I can think of.
He's best.
Yeah, to be able to like go first, win the first to 5 in that matchup. He was down for a little bit and then come back and get that dub. That was amazing.
It was really good, man. And actually, Edge was not supposed to be so. Again, the format, I designed it in a way to it's exhibitions day 1, day 2 is the Waseda format, and then Unleash format. And he wasn't actually.
जिन अब बैलेंस हो गया है पता नहीं खेल के पता चलेगा.
And Arslan and obviously the team Pakistan had their responsibility to pick their own.
2 and 4 minus 10 कर दिया डाउन 2 का काउंटर हिट हटा दिया.
Edge was not chosen, and I think me and Joker were talking about this, and we were both very surprised. And I think Team Pakistan was surprised that based on the way the Edge had ended season 1 and the
उसके भी combos अच्छे कर दिए जिनके.
On the Pakistani side, the Edge wasn't chosen. Now I don't know how much I can tell you this, but the day before the exhibitions, we go to a cafe. I'm with the STL guys, and these guys are saying we want Edge in the main exhibition.
Sword or Flash.
I can't say that a day before the actual.
तब दे दो जिनको.
It's crazy because Arslan was there with me, and he was like, wouldn't have been a problem if you told me a week before or like a couple weeks before, but saying it the day before is kind of crazy. Like, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, yes, fair enough, we understand. But I guess they realized that Edge needed to be in the exhibition, and they were like, let's try and get him in there. But they said we want to see him play, and I said, okay, do you know what we do? I think what we do.
हीट स्मैश नहीं दिखाया उसको शायद कुछ नहीं नर्फ किया है. वॉल स्प्लैट करता है पता है फुल स्क्रीन से.
Edge that he is involved in some way, right? So I'm glad.
पैच नोट्स में पता चलेगा.
Down to a final round because that was one of the best sets that we saw in that entire thing. But way, man, shout out to everyone that made that a possibility, especially like Bars and Soup and these guys. It was absolutely fantastic. I spoke to Ulsan and CBM after the exhibition, and they said that next time we're going to be a lot more involved, a lot more as a team to try and pick the right team and take it very seriously because they want this run back. They definitely want it. They had a lot of confidence.
I can talk कब करेंगे ये. इसके बारे में.
That was so strange.
Sure. Video right with John.
Format and we want Edge in the main exhibition, and we're like, you can't say that a day before the actual exhibition. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
सब disappointed है.
Like, wouldn't have been a problem if you told me a week before or like a couple weeks before, but saying it the day
Twitter पे देखो सब चढ़ रहे हैं हरादा पे माइकल मरे पे.
But I guess they realized that Edge needed to be in the exhibition, and they were like, let's try and get him in there. But they said we
खेल के पता चलेगा कि क्या बैलेंस किया है.
I think we add that so that we'll have the 2 first to 10s. We'll also start it with the first to 5 with Edge that he is involved in some
1, 2, 3.
way, right? So I'm glad that we did that. I'm glad it went all the way down to a final round because that was one of the best sets that we saw in that entire thing. But either way, man, shout out to everyone that made that.
Lars का मुझे पता नहीं ज़्यादा.
Especially like Bars and Soup and these guys. It was absolutely fantastic. I spoke to Ulsan and CBM after the exhibition, and they said that next time we're going to be a lot more involved, a lot more as a team.
अच्छा हाँ 1, 2, 3 हाँ.
And take it very seriously because
वो -10 नहीं था.
They definitely want it. They had a lot of confidence going into day number 2 because of the way that Ni beat Arslan. Ulsan and CBM were like, oh my god, Ni's back, our captain. They trust him so much, they believe in him so much that it gave them the confidence, but it didn't go their way unfortunately. But let's see.
-12 था पता नहीं.
The next year is going to be in
कोई और move होगा.
It'll be like a yearly thing that happens, kind of similar to like I don't know if you guys watch cricket, but like there's a thing called the Ashes where Australia and England play each other, and they do it like every year. So hopefully it can be like a yearly.
शायद वो unsafe ही था, safe नहीं था.
Talking about seasons, guys, we have season 2. We had Tekken Talk recently, and boy oh boy, didn't get
launch
any
नहीं
chat
था.
from the entire Tekken community. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna switch scenes. This is my first time using this scene. I hope it doesn't go wrong. Oh boy, look at that, man. Guys, look at that. How is my graphic design? It's not bad, is it? Like we got the little layout there. We got the Tekken Talk video there. Now look at the chat. You see, you guys are on the screen now, guys. In the chat, look at you guys, man, talking away. All right. So Tekken Talk. I guess before we start the video, I want some general takeaways and kind of thoughts about the Tekken Talk after watching it. And Fee, I'm gonna start with you, bro. I mean, you watched it. What were your general thoughts about it?
PDX का भी रिएक्शन
It
देखना है
was a
मुझे.
very, very
इसको
impactful
गेम कुछ ज़्यादा ही
presentation.
पसंद है ये.
It left an impression. I will say that the Anna presentation was pretty
Down
cool.
forward
I thought
2-1.
that the adaptation of the character. I always have said that as much as I don't like fighting against like Anna or don't like fighting against like Lei and Julia, I started in Tekken 3, so I think these characters always belong in Tekken. If there's a Nina, there's got to be Anna. You know what I mean? So I was excited to see her come back in general. I think the addition of an extra stance kind of lines up with her character. So in general, when it comes to new stances on characters, I'm like,
इसका तो
hit or
प्लस
miss.
ऑन
It's
ब्लॉक
fine.
लो
I
है
like looking at
एना के
that.
पास कोई.
An Anna player wants to go into stance, so that makes total sense to me. You know. And then when they started showing a lot of the character changes, especially in combination with the interview they gave before with the Evo team, I was like, okay, you can tell
तीन
here
पत्ते.
they're paying attention to the defensive things that we're looking for. And then I think the shock factor came from, in addition to those defensive adjustments that show kind of they are paying attention and they're in touch with what people are asking, they also added a bunch of buffs that kind of went in what we perceive to be the other direction. So again, disclaimer, we need to see all the patch notes and see how everything interacts. But it was kind of shocking to see
हाँ दिखाएंगे अभी शायद.
like a nugget of what we were looking for, and then a swing into the other direction. We were like, whoa, wait, are we buffing defense? Are we buffing offense? What are we doing? I think
पर
it was
पुशबैक
confused
होता है शायद तो.
based on prior messaging.
पता नहीं.
That was my takeaway. I think that was my audience's takeaway. We were just it was a lot of whiplash.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth. I see. Speakix, do you agree? And what was your takeaway and thoughts after watching that Tekken Talk?
Okay, let me word this well.
Gathering his thoughts.
I think it's hard to make a judgment on season 2 and the upcoming changes based on what we've seen, right? Because they said that there's 1,500 changes in the logs, and we clearly didn't see that. Like, maybe we
1,500.
saw even 100. I'm not sure, but I think the Tekken Talk itself did not do the best job showing what people were looking for, which was exciting and surprising after them acknowledging knowing what people were looking for while saying things like, we know the defensive players are feeling like too constrained and we're keeping the game aggressive, but we want to make sure that there's counterplay, and they show us things and like say, hey, yeah, by the way, there's no counterplay, or they show like Jin running 3 into stance, which is plus
कसिनो चल रहा है.
block, and they made the low unseeable out of it, and then they showed,
50-50.
and then they showed Anna doing the safe the plus on block low for
Plus on
more
block low.
damage, while acknowledging the lack of counterplay. By the way, you can't punish it. You know what I mean? So it was a very weird thing to
क्या
have
कर लो दुमार.
kind of acknowledge what people were looking for.
LS
And
Ariodhan.
then maybe it does exist in the patches. I don't know yet. We haven't seen the patches.
धुमार पान
But
कर
they
लो.
acknowledge it
अच्छा
and
धुमार
not
पान
show
अच्छा.
it. And then the response
ये
to
नहीं कर रहा.
the outrage afterwards was confusing because they kind of acknowledged that people wanted to see something different, and then they showed us something off. It was all kind of weird to me. So I don't think the Tekken Talk was particularly good, but I don't know if season 2 is good or bad yet.
I see. Okay, Joker, what's your opinion on that?
My opinion on the Tekken Talk. So when I saw the Anna segment, it was interesting. I feel like when I was watching the Anna segment, I kind of just zoned out, and then they hit us with the character changes, which were crazy because I feel like some of the character changes were good, like
दर
Jin
दर
got
से आ
introduced,
रहा.
and then they showed us so many buffs for some reason. Now, I think something I need to mention is like what Speedkick said. We can't really make too much of a judgment based on the Tekken Talk because, of course, it's a presentation. They're limited on time. There's only so much they can show, and they're gonna show like new moves. They're not gonna show like frame nerfs or like properties of moves being changed and whatnot. So yeah, I don't think the Tekken Talk was
हाँ
a
समझ
good
गया.
idea in my opinion. Like I think they showed the wrong things, especially when they dropped the Evo video a day
सारे
before
दो.
the Tekken Talk, and they don't show any of that. I think that was so strange, and I think
ये कौन सा
it
इमोजी?
wasn't what the community was expecting. We didn't want to see all these buffs to characters and whatnot. And yeah, I'm just like, I'll be honest with you, I think I'm scared, but I'm still optimistic because we still have so many changes we're yet to see. I mean, they said it's a very big patch. It's a new season. There's still time before Evo Japan. But yeah, I am scared shitless right now.
एरियोडन तो काजिया वगैरह खेलता है.
Kwis, do you agree with that? Then? It seems like from what
नहीं ये भी
Felix
लिली
and
खेलता है.
also
हाँ.
Joker have said, is that based on kind of the Evo video and just kind of the lead up to that Tekken talk, which has been a conversation about defense and how they realized that offense was maybe a little bit too strong and a bit too much focus on offense, that they needed to focus on the defensive elements, and they the sidestep from crouch and other such changes, and maybe people were expecting to see one thing, but
Akuma
thing. Is that kind of your opinion as well? And what did you take away?
पीछे jump करना पड़ेगा.
Oh yeah, it definitely felt like a bit of whiplash because again, the day before they mentioned so much about defense being important and side sets being changed, and so many like these are huge changes, like being able to step into the foreground from crouch. And then they mentioned something like Nakatsu said something about when you're grounded, you take 30% less damage or something like I can't even remember what it was, something like that, about 30% less damage while grounded or recover the life. And it's like, well, that's something it sounds weird. I want to see what that is in a Tekken talk. Like you get the shielding on top of that, right? Like I was really waiting for them to talk about the
Can कर ले.
in Tekken talk because there was so much mention. This 30% thing, like it sounds like a huge change. Like surely it's something you want to champion for next season, but they didn't mention it. But yeah, overall the Tekken talk, my feeling is I want to see the patch notes.
Yeah.
Where I make like a big decision, but like it was the things that I saw, I wasn't a fan of. Is the best way. Like some like the Jin nurse up 4-2 is unsafe, 2-1-4 is unsafe. They had me for a second, and then they were like now running 3 into 50-50 stance mix ups, and it's like
अरे हाँ running 3 के बाद stance में जा सकता है
we
Jin.
haven't been a fan of for most of the time, and you know heat engages are still plus 17. I thought that's something they might address, and then it's like it brings a lot of things into question because like
Ram
heat
Ram
engages are
Ravi.
plus 17. When Anna heat engages, she can now do the running low, and you can't low parry it, so it's just
Patch notes.
hits. That's a free 60.
2-3 दिन पहले आ जाने चाहिए. बहुत लंबे होंगे, पता नहीं कितने पेज के होंगे patch notes.
And don't look at how it's gonna affect the entire game, but again, I'm only seeing the Tekken talk in the background. I'm not seeing the entire patch notes and what it means for the rest of the game. You know, there's still time for them to change heat engage, just not plus 17. I doubt it, but there's always time. But yeah,
Meter मिल जाएगा.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. From what I'm hearing from you guys and from what I've seen on Twitter as well, is that because based on what has been shown, it was not expected because again the conversation was a lot about defense leading up to Tekken talk, but then they showed some things which showed a lot more.
Defense का कुछ दिखाया ही नहीं इन्होंने. बोल रहे थे defense buff करेंगे.
So it kind of surprised people. But like you said, Karis, and I think someone else said it as well, Joker, I think, like, let's say, for example, Jin, right? He got this new buff. If you look at that if you isolate that and look at that just as it is now and consider season 1.
Install वगैरह है क्या लिली के पास? नहीं है ना?
But what if, and this is just me playing.
जून को दे दिया install.
There are other changes because obviously again there's 1500 changes to these characters, right? What if the rest of the changes to Jin were just nerfs to the point where like that Jin actually deserved that buff in a way? What do you think, Speed?
I think maybe a problem even if the other things do get nerfed. I think the problem that personally I have with the game, and I think a lot of people have with the game, even though I really like the game, it's not a matter of what
Speed kick तो पसंद है भाई game.
I think a lot of
अकेला OG player जिसे game पसंद है.
This character is too strong or this style of play is too strong, and there's a lot of different ways you can change a game.
अरे वो देखा Fatal Fury में रोनाल्डो डाल दिया.
My problem isn't Jin being strong or Jin being weak or aggression being
Fighting
strong or
game
being weak. It's the type of aggression that they want us to do, right? It's the way we interact. I'm an aggressive player. I love the shift from Tekken 7 to Tekken 8. I still say Season 1 Tekken 8 I liked a lot more than the last seasons of Tekken 7. And the first ones, the problem is even though I'm interacting more, the interactions can get a lot cheaper. There's a lot less decisions being made while attacking
मुझे भी
these
अभी
games
पता
than
चला.
previous games, right? And that comes from removing options. That comes from my opponent not being able to sidestep my stuff. Instead of there being a layer of options of counterplay I can work with, right? It's just
वही तो देख रहा है तू.
Let's have some fun. For the love of the game.
Love of the game. S tier लग रहा है मुझे तो ये. रोनाल्डो डाल दिया भाई. बहुत लोग खरीदेंगे गेम अब. रोनाल्डो फैंस. हाँ करता है सू. बॉल से मार रहा है.
of the wolves.
Mid or low, and I'm like super plus. I don't have to worry about the counter hit timings. I don't have to worry about the sidestep timings, and it just makes it
सेकंड
so
में
that
मेसी
even though I'm
डालो.
fighting my opponent, I'm still bored. And so when they talk about making the game more aggressive and making sure that it's an aggressive type of game, I hear that they want people to keep it
फोर्टनाइट
taking
में तो
city
बहुत
still
कैरेक्टर्स
green,
है, पता
but
नहीं क्या
I
है.
would like it for them to make it so that it's aggressive, often like attacker favored, but there's still more layers
बाइसिकल
there for
किक
us
नहीं
to
है.
play with. And the Jin change, right? They're running 3 into the stance. That's not really something that shows me a lot of counterplay. It shows me more guessing, right? It doesn't. It's plus 12, right? The heat engage being plus 17 on hit. It's not a lot of counterplay. Cool. The attacker can now duck and do full crash moves, right? They even said that they
Full
saw
crouch
us playing
mixers.
the game and always doing the same move after heat engage, so they wanted us to mix it up.
Right.
The reason we did the same thing after heat engage is because when you're plus 17, there's not much to do for both players, right? If I was less plus, but still plus, still in my favor, right? As the attacker, I'm still favored. I'm still incentivized to be the attacker. But if my opponent could sidestep, if my opponent could do parries, if they could power crush, right? If they had the frames to do that, then I would have to mix up my offense more, and there'd be more layers and more thought between both players while still being attacker favored, right? So the changes they showed they didn't give the community any hope that there was going to be more thoughtful offense, right?
टॉम
It's
एंड
like,
जेरी.
we're not mad because the attackers are winning still. We're
स्मैश
mad
ब्रोज में थे
because
शायद.
we want more gameplay, right? And more gameplay is enabled when you reduce some of the power of his offensive stuff, some of the coverage of his offensive stuff. Not power. Let's not say power, right? Because you can still be very strong, but when it shuts out the defender entirely, there's not much gameplay happening.
Yeah, I actually 100% agree with you. I think this is a conversation I had when I was at the EU Cup with some of the players. If you make heat engage a plus 10 from plus 17, you still have a considerable advantage, but the options that the defender has
प्लस 10.
are a lot more than if there's plus 17. There's the potential to maybe sidestep a running 3 or parry a down forward 1.
प्लस 10 पे तो लो पैरी भी हो
Into
जाए.
a mind game where it's like, okay, I have options here. If I see my opponent kind of defaulting to the same option as the defender, I can actually do something to beat that. But at plus 17 or at minus 17, I actually can't do anything. So I 100% agree with that. Fee, do you agree with that as well?
Yeah, I think that that was my main concern watching the Anna reveal, where the first move they pitched is a homing high, right? A range 4 homing high.
उसमें तो काजिया भी है.
Block, knock down into 4. I don't care that the follow up is like relatively low damage. I mean, it's a chunk,
Smash
right?
Bros.
It's not like a combo, right? I don't care that the damage is what it is. If it's higher, if it's lower, it's whatever.
वेव डैश करता है उसमें.
What are both players doing in the neutral game because that move exists? Right, and then to complement that move, they've given her a mid.
लिली तो फुल क्रॉस मिक्सअप भी कर सकती है अब.
Based on them showing the first move, is that it's sidestep.
है कुछ उसके पास.
Tekken isn't just are they doing the
स्लाइड कैरेक्टर्स भाई अब स्लाइड मारेंगे हिट डैश के बाद. बफर कर सकते हैं.
Like how I think, as much as I hate fighting him, I think Kazuya's design is kind of elegant because they made all of his moves more or less, with a few exceptions.
Unblockable low.
So, especially when
क्या पता हो इसके पास.
Now we're playing a game on, are you sidestepping or did I get you to sit still and then do I get to mix you up? There's like these extra layers on top of it outside of just, is this the time I pick option A or is this the time I pick option B? And my disappointment and kind of, I guess, where a lot of my frustration was coming from was how it feels like a lot of the characters are turning into that Anna design, right? A lot of characters are given really, really strong option that forces you to pick one thing, alternative option that covers the weaknesses of the first thing in a very binary way, right? And obviously, again, we'd want to see, is the movement much better that, you get some extra defensive options against, like, say, the mid string. They showed Jin jab interrupting the new Zafina mid string that's now safe, right? And there might be elegant fixes there that a high-level player or an upper intermediate player will be able to exploit that leads to some cool depth. But again, just from what we were shown, it felt like a very much like, here's my gigantic homing mid. Here is my straight up and down mid. And now we will deal with these two things. And it felt very like the game could still be fun. The game could even be more balanced. But to me, balance isn't everything. It's like, are the interactions we're having dynamic? Are they interesting? Are they layered, deep? Yeah. And it's a challenge to try and appeal to the players trying to push that and appeal to new people coming in. But it is a challenge I have a lot of investment in hoping that they answer, because I think keeping the higher level players engaged long term is really healthy. And I think that's an important priority.
Right, absolutely. Curious, what's your thoughts on this?
Lily S here.
Obviously, everyone's hoping that in season 2 there's going to be a few more options for the defender. Just to make the mind game a little bit more complicated and a bit more fun, even if the aggressor still has a ton of options. What's your takeaway on this?
Oh yeah, I completely agree, especially with like what Speakick said there, because it made me think of Alyssa post Heat Engage. what's Alyssa going to do every single time after he engages? Destroy forward 1+2. Because there's no reason not to do anything else. It's +5. It does crazy chip damage. And then you just have to block that. And now you're minus again and go from there. Like, there's no. And then again, if you're in like a end of round, little bit of health situation, then they just do the low. And it's like, well, of course I didn't duck. You have this mid right here. Of course I didn't duck. It's like just giving the defender
Yeah.
options. And you get to, because again, if you look at that situation, every Alyssa player does it. You can't tell the difference between the best Alyssa players in the world, a mid Alyssa player, and somebody just started, because there's no reason for them not all to do this one move. Is so overpowered in this situation that just toning some of that down, giving us creative freedom to mix something up, or like that's what I really enjoy about Tekken, is like the layer 2. Like once you beat in this option, how do you get to the next level? How do you stop me from there, right? Like I've stopped this. What do you do to beat me stopping this? And if you don't do it, I'm just gonna win from there. Like it's the forcing adaptation. But the way it is now, I was why he can get your +17 is I'm gonna do the same option every single time. And there's nothing you can do to stop me from doing it. Like to me,
कॉस्ट्यूम
that
डीएलसी
is
लगता है लिली प्लेयर्स ही बाय
unbelievable,
करते हैं
because
वैसे
I
ये बात
know
तो सही है
exactly what you're gonna do. I can't do anything about it. Like that doesn't feel fair.
I see. Okay, Joker.
EU वर्सेस एनए हो सकता है
I
कुछ
agree.
ट्रैश टॉकिंग चल रही है खूब आजकल
Honestly, if you
ट्विटर
have a
पे
good option which is plus and gives us chip damage and allows you to continue your offense, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, why wouldn't you just go for that? And you know, if your opponent happens to duck wall, that's a lot of reward for you. But
पीट
duck
किक्स
wall
तो
without
कोचिंग देता है बस रिटायर हो गया ये तो
whatever happens, you're gonna get
मतलब
rewarded.
टूर्नामेंट्स में नहीं आता
I guess we're talking a lot about heat engages here, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everything that was just said from everyone. Something I wanted to talk about was like the chip part. Now they said they wanted to reduce chip, but it feels like Anna has like a whole mechanic, which is the debuff or whatever it is, which focuses on chip, and I think that's not necessarily a good thing as well, because in heat she deals more chip when she's in that debuff state as well. When the opponent's debuff.
सीजन 2
I
से
don't
पर
like
पसंद
that
नहीं
either.
आया है
And in general, like some of the
जो भी
moves,
टेकन टॉक में
some of the
दिखाया
moves we saw are just crazy, man. Like we're seeing
ये
hooks
देखो
between mids that are potentially homing. We're seeing moves going to stands
प्लस
that
कितना है
cancel
इसका
a 50-50 situation, like 3DX mentioned. I'm not a fan, but
कोई
again,
+6 हाई
I'm gonna
होमिंग
wait
है इसके
to
पास
make my judgment until I actually try the game and lab it for myself, because I think it's important. I feel like
बहुत अच्छी
something
रेंज
I
है
found on my stream was there's a difference between reading a passion and feeling it for yourself. What I mean by feel is like labbing it for yourself. Like for instance, Tekken 7 Season 2. I still remember when that Wallbands trailer dropped, man, and everyone was losing their shit. And when we actually played it, we were like, it's not too bad. It could have been worse. And I
Bring back
pray that
Wallbands.
that's the same case for this whole presentation. I'm just gonna
हाँ
wait
ये
and
है
see
ना
what
डीबफ
happens, but yeah, from what we've seen so far, it's scary, man. It's scary times.
रॉकेट से
Yeah,
One-
it's scary. Go on, sorry.
One thing that also stood out to me, not just in option coverage and how that kind of these really really strong mix-up situations, especially
भाई
at the heat
क्या
engage, kind of
भाई क्या
force a very
कैरेक्टर बना रहे हैं
stale
भाई
mode of
ये
play. I also felt that when they were showing the
ये
characters,
देखो चिप
the
डैमेज
two things that kind of also felt restricting were the emphasis on attack that goes into stance and then stance offense. And then we gave the
तो भी
Jin
बड़े
example.
मूव
It's
मार
not
नहीं
just that
रही
when 3 goes into stance, it's that they make his low less reactable, 24 to 21. It's that Azucena now gets
जैब
a
जैब से ही
+4
खत्म कर
to
दी
+5 in
इतनी
the stance. She has a frame trap option. She probably has a tracking option, right? Like the way that
90
is being
पॉइंट
pushed is in this very stance heavy direction. I asked a question like
वो लो भाई
thought
वो
experiment, like if
कर्व्ड
I'm
वाला
the kind of player that doesn't want to use stances, doesn't want to use like a buffer and install, who do I pick? And the only answer I think was like Kazu.
पूरी स्टेज दिखती है जिस
And
मॉनिटर पे
he is a very high execution character, right? So I think that there is
ये
obviously
देखो ये
to
देखो
anyone it appeals to, it's going to be
वार्निंग
cool
करो
because like you can pick up any character, they're going to have this very clear
ये
flow
माइनस
of if I
14
pick
हेल्थ
this
से
character, go into stance, push my offense. But it feels that that's becoming maybe the only way to play. And then my other concern, aside from the attack stance, is that characters who kind of felt designed around particular weaknesses seem to be, again, because we have to see everything, seem to be getting those buffed out. I looked at Reyna's new low that on counter hit.
इसका पावर क्रश हीटिंग गजर हटा के ये वाला कर दिया
And they showed a lot of moves that were like going under highs and kind of like
हाँ
getting
2-3 लाख वाला
just
मॉनिटर
guessing. I felt like Reyna was as crazy as her moveset is.
ये
I
देखो लो
actually
हिट
like
स्मैश
enjoyed that they had this vision with her where insane mids, insane highs, fast poking, so much control, electric wind god fist, hop kick. She could do like everything.
Yeah.
But if she goes low, it's a bit of a and I kind of like that exchange. Now it feels like again we don't know how this
हरादा
goes fully, but just the idea of a low that is kind of evasive. It looks like she can.
ये हरादा थोड़ी है बैलेंस टीम में ये नकात्सु जो है ये डायरेक्ट कर रहा है ये सब
From Heaven's Wrath with a new low, it felt like they saw this weakness.
रिटार्डेड
To help people who enjoy Reyna but didn't figure out how to navigate that weakness, they started patching it up. And that
ये और मिशिमा
we get
स्टार
a lot of power creep, we get a lot of eventually frustrating
मरे भी हो सकता है
That's the biggest thing that concerned me was the idea of seeing a character's weakness and patching it over.
Yeah.
इसके फ्रेम्स देख के पता
There's
चलेगा
something you
मुझे
remember a while ago when people were talking
ये
about
पता
that
नहीं माइनस है कि
velocity
सेफ है
ramp, where the idea is we feel a loss to something a lot worse than
Plus ही है पर ये
than we enjoy like the games, right? So it
ब्लॉग
feels
पे
a lot
पता नहीं
better
कितना
to,
होगा,
it feels a lot worse to lose something than it does.
पर इसके लोज अच्छे हैं नहीं वैसे, तो ठीक है दे दिया ऐसे लो
Um,
जो स्टैंड्स में जा
I
रहा
feel like
है,
there's a
पर
lot
यही
that can be
फालतू
done
की चीज़ें
sometimes
भाई,
to,
मूव के बाद स्टैंड्स
from Bandai Namco's
हर कैरेक्टर
perspective,
बस
right? They
यही
want
सब
to
नाटक है.
appeal to people when they make these Tekken Talks, when they show off this stuff. They come up with these new ideas. They want the game to look cool, so they're like, hey, here's this new thing you can do.
कैंसिल कर सकती है स्टैंड्स.
Something I think I would really like for them to understand is when you show off something new that as a buff, even a buff, a new move, something that removes
ले
the counterplay from
ले तो
your
भाई
character,
इनसे
right?
बैलेंस नहीं
It's
होने वाला,
actually
कुछ उल्टा
more of a
सीधा
one-time
बना
moment
देंगे
than
ले
it is
को
an
तो.
addition, because they are showing the rest of us who don't play that character everything we can't do now, right? And on the other side, if they were to show us, oh hey, you can step this move now, right? Maybe okay, cool. The if you can step Demon Paw easier, right? Let's say that the Jin players get a little bit more upset, right? Okay, cool. Their move got a little bit weaker, but
इसके
for the
सारे
rest of us,
लोज
we're seeing
माइनस है
more gameplay.
ऑन
Okay,
हिट भी
before when that move came on
रेना
screen, I
के.
just had to block. Now I can do this or that, right? It's an addition for us by nerfing the move, right? So it's the way the game works. A lot of the super strong stuff, they shut the opponent out of the game. So when they show us counterplay, when they give us new counterplay, when they give us new defense,
फॉरवर्ड न्यूट्रल 3 है इनपुट इसका.
Right, absolutely. I think that's why the sidestep from crouch mechanic that they introduced was a very good one. I think because that does give everybody else more options. Let's say, for example, Asuka is a great option there because if
Ogre
if you were on P1, if she does down back 3,
पर आ सकता है पता नहीं.
sidestep was left. If you sidestep left, you're gonna get hit by another down back 3. Now you can be on both P1 and P2, and if
इधर
you
बस स्ट्रॉन्ग टेल स्पिन दे दी.
and you'll be able to sidestep a second down back 3 on if you try to, the only way you can sidestep was left. If you sidestep left, you're gonna get hit by another down back 3. Now you can be on both P1.
Oh, I was running 3-4. इससे भी कॉम्बोज अच्छे हो सकते हैं. डॉक्टर बस कॉर्नर में
and you'll be able to sidestep a second down back 3.
वो तो ब्लास्ट फास्ट कर लेता है खुद को.
That offense, right? So you know, even though that actually provides us as the defender more options, and I guess
ये ऑटो रियलाइन सही है. काजिया के लिए तो सही है. ये काजिया के साइड स्टेप पर इलेक्ट्रिक के बाद कॉम्बोज बड़े इनकंसिस्टेंट है.
And that's why nerfs, and that's why the community has been asking for nerfs, right? I believe that's kind of what you're getting at, right, Speed?
Yeah, exactly. It's not about the power or oh I can't win against Jin. I can win against every Jin anyway. The problem is that there's very little fun things to do while fighting the Jin, you know. Yeah. So I think if they showing off nerfs, showing off new counterplay, it's showing off new toys for the rest of us as opposed to just
counter hit पे कुछ guaranteed भी है.
So thanks, given that was everyone giving their kind of initial thoughts on the Tekken Talk. I just want to go over it. Like, I have
high crushing low counter hit पे कोई guaranteed सही move दे दिया ऐसे.
And talk about it with you guys, right? So we've kind of got a little bit of general thoughts, but I actually want to go into things a little bit deeper and give a little bit of news to those of you guys who maybe didn't get to see the entire Tekken Talk. So first of all, I want to say a very, very, very positive change to the Tekken World Tour, which they announced. And guys, don't worry, we're gonna go into the gameplay. So I got all the timestamps, okay, guys. But let's talk about this quick.
ये सब नहीं देखना. Best of 5 और first to 3 same ही.
Stuff, right? So like that's like my main contribution. I think
This game is pathetic.
So dumb, like for multiple reasons, right? I just think it's not good for competition. I think it's not good for the spectator. I don't think it really enriches the experience as a player. All it really does is let you get some help when you don't.
Because Hoarang might actually be the most legit character in Tekken 8. Fuck Hoarang!
I think it's a good change, and I know it's gonna be really hard to regulate generally, right?
अरे रायन भाई ने मुझे जीतने दिया थोड़ा मैच.
Coaching would be very difficult, I think, for anyone, because like for any tournament, because how do you handle the guys off stage? How do you handle the crowd screaming? How do you handle phones, right? But this kind of regulation is really good for it, I think.
Yeah. Fee, what do you?
Mother chotes. This is the one thing I know. Mother chotes is motherfucker, right?
Was great. He played Noctis. He had like 3
Mother chotes.
Forward 1+2 mode,
basically, yeah. You know? There was a mode where he didn't press a button. There's a mode where he played long range buttons, and a mode where he played up close buttons. And I could just tell him when to switch into those against the guy he was playing. He could win every time.
More 50-50.
It was insane.
Yeah, I mean,
like Final Fantasy.
Coin flip game.
As a commentator, I can say that oftentimes I see other commentators, and I've been in the past, where let's say
C4 unblockable.
enjoy yourself. You got this. You're a strong player. And they go off. No coaching. There wasn't any specific Tekken coaching, right? But then he kind of calms down and then bodies the person 6 rounds straight. But then the commentators are like, I wonder what that guy coached him. The coaching definitely works. We have no idea what was told to the person playing, but we're giving credit to this guy that just went up there and said, "Hey, calm down, man." So I think even as a commentator now, I'm definitely I'm not giving credit to coaches when they go up and say stuff. I'm like, man, that was an amazing comeback by the advice. And with it off, who it was.
I played Shonen, I think it was. He was hitting
Oh,
me.
no.
I'm like,
Try to experiment with my PC versus VSync on a PC and screen.
I'm the biggest.
Off versus, and it make console tournaments just way better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm the biggest weenie when it comes to input delay. Like if you add a few frames, I start tweaking. I'm like, this is all wrong. Like I'm not gonna be able to play, guys. Like so I'm the biggest like play. They ran it on PC for the first time, and there was so much screen tearing. It was like at that point,
New
I
10
would
frame
rather have no
punish.
delay, right? So it was like hard to see people moving. Like if there are errors where the screen is like it was really weird. It was like the screen
हो
was
सकता है
flashing. It was like
पता नहीं क्या
it
कर
was genuinely one of the
ब्रायन का तो
weirdest
कुछ दिखाया ही
things
नहीं
at the tournament, and that experience made me think like, okay, I would rather have to get used to the lag than get on a setup where the screen tearing might be more extreme than the screen tearing I'm used to at home, right? Or like if somebody has the setting different on a particular setup and the match gets played unless they have a much screen tearing.
Next, the UI change, the count hit moves such as G clefs or like stuff like Laws back 1-2-2. I'll start with you, Joker, actually with this one. You can see it on screen right now. It says counter after Anna did her down forward 1 string. What do you think about this being implemented in game?
At first, I thought it was going to be too much in the sense that there'd be so much
New
clutter and whatnot,
string.
but with the way they've placed it and how small it is, I think it's good. In regards to the counterpart, I think, like what Nee said, I agree. We need to try for ourselves. I think that's the most important thing.
कोई पुराने गेम्स का मूव है क्या ये डाउन फॉरवर्ड 2
Yeah, it'd be
3
interesting if it does help with the counterpart, like being able to confirm strings and whatnot. I think it'd be pretty strong. But at first, I wasn't a fan of the idea. But again, when it comes to the counterpart, I want to see it in play. And I think we don't just see the combo damage. I think that shit is kind of dumb. Like, why am I seeing me getting launched for like 100 damage on the screen, bro? Like, I know it does a lot of damage. Like, after I lose to someone, am I gonna shake their hand and say to them, "Oh, you hit me with a good combo that was 100 damage, nice"? Like,
You know what? I can see Kane and Trench doing that though. That combo, mate, 99 damage. That was beautiful.
It was like, that's optimized. I optimized that combo, But yeah, I think it's okay, and I'm just
बोर हो गया रायन भाई खेल के
for sure.
Yeah. Kairis?
Yeah, I think I'm the opposite to Joker. I feel like in theory, I was like, oh, this is a good thing. And then I started to see it, and I was a bit like, I feel like some of it's a bit too excessive, like combo damage, combo hits. Like I know how many hits are in the combo. Like I'm doing it. And I think like, but like, I think like
विशाल चेस
tornado,
खेल सकता होगा भाई
like I think some of it is a bit.
हंस
too
क्यों
much.
रहा
Like I know what's going on, but punish is also a bit too excessive. It happens. It happens.
नीरज
But
पेप्स
I don't know. I think as long as there's an option to turn it off if I want or customize only some turn up. I think they mentioned there's a version that only comes up above the life bar or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm misremembering, but
Something I need to add, sorry to interrupt, is that obviously they're gonna have this as a standard for tournaments, right? So even if we do turn it off, even though we can toggle it, we're gonna have to get used to it for tournaments. Because
Do you think it's gonna be default for tournament?
yeah, they said that they wanted to be easier for the
PS5 पे
commentators to
V-Sync
do,
से
so-
that was actually going to be like my next.
और
my
लैगी
next
लगेगा
point,
क्या
like, is it going to be tournament standard? Are we keeping this on? Like, can the TOs decide? Can the players decide? Because here's my thing. I think it is best, obviously, for the viewer, right? Like, and obviously for commentators, like,
Character
you don't have to
bans,
be like, was that counting? We don't know. You see counting right there. I do think in general, count hits have been normal to see in Tekken. Like, there's normally a
Backup
screen zoom
characters
editing,
बनाने
you can
पड़ेंगे
tell, okay, that was a count hit. Obviously some moves are different. They're not all moves are like that. But
Tekken
for
5 में भी तो कोई
commentators,
स्टीव का
I think
कॉम्बो
it's
बैन था
okay,
कोई
just
वो
have
इन्फिनिट जो
some
मारता है
but it might be a case of them like
बैन
maybe
था वो
too
कॉम्बो
much to new players there, because they don't know what this is. They're not sure, and it's all there.
5 या 4 पता
Yeah,
नहीं
I don't
कौन
know. I
सा
think for viewers, for people like maybe watching a stream or something, like, was that count here? I don't know. Well, now you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think some of it is just like tornado. Like that's that's a bit mad because there's a whole camera change when it's so like maybe that's a bit too much.
Yeah.
Slow mo. We got a slow mo counter as well.
Speed.
Chess
Speed,
FT कर लो
okay, if it is a conversation to be
Chess
had about
FT करो
whether
भाई
it
अभी
should be tournament standard, what's your opinion and takeaway on the new UI changes? I'll start with you actually, Speed. What do you make of it?
chess.com
I think tournament standard is fine. I think everyone complaining about this. Y'all kind of, I'm a nerd. Y'all some bigger nerds or something on this one. I swear to God, I don't know what it is. I think it's cool that like some new player, someone who doesn't really understand Tekken can like look at Tekken and be like, oh, that was a punish, or that was a counter hit. Okay, cool. What's a tornado? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just having that to pop up and like introduce them to like the things that are happening in the game
50-50
is kind of cool. But it's kind of ugly.
Oh.
So my problem is that like I think the combo damage is
first
excessive.
50-50
I think combo count is cool. and you can see big red light.
Parada's
Those
vision.
numbers don't really mean anything to anyone who doesn't know Tekken already enough to understand that someone's getting comboed, right? So I think
But
the damage is excessive. The way the color, the way the
but
color
weird.
for the combo counter and the combo damage are like so different is also weird. It's like too focused when you're doing the combo. So I think that's the only problem. But the concept is cool to me, and I think if it makes counter hit confirming
इसका तो
easier,
एक्स्ट्रा चिप डैमेज
like,
है.
whatever,
Yeah.
it's fine. I think
Really?
it's
Is
fine.
it
Every
fine
time I
though?
get
Like King Downfall,
bro,
do you want to see if it stays in the
कुछ
game?
डिबफ कर
so I
देती है
think
उससे
counter
इसके
confirming this game
मूव्स
is
का चिप
already too
डैमेज
simple.
बढ़
Like,
जाता है
if
आना
you're
पे.
talking about as a skill, because
Yeah.
the big pink flare hit spark, that comes up when you do the hit, right? It makes it so I can confirm Hwoarang's 10 frame counter hit without even going into the second part unless it counter hits, because you can just see it. You have so much time to like process.
जो
your
हरादा के
thoughts.
साथ बैठा
So
है
even
ना,
though it looks
ये
bad,
गेम
it's just a
डायरेक्टर है,
little
उसे पता
marginally
नहीं कि
easier to look for the
रिटार्डेड
word
है ये
counter on the
थोड़ा.
screen. Maybe you weren't a nerd who looked at the difference of the hit sparks.
Yeah.
He was looking for the word on the screen. It's
गुड
the same
नाइट
thing.
ऑनलाइन वर्ल्ड.
Okay. So it's a similar situation for you, just maybe a bit easier and maybe a bit more
Yeah.
accessible for you. What do you think?
Big nerd checking in here. I had a lot of thoughts about this.
हाँ,
Right at the
throws तो
beginning when
homing
they
थे
talked about
starting
it,
में
I put
भाई.
out a video. Actually, before they even announced it, I put out a video saying like Tekken doesn't need this, and it started
इसको
because
कुछ
there was
नहीं.
like a tweet conversation about Brian doing a combo and then getting flashed after, and people are saying, why does Yoshimitsu get this punish? And then people did it frame by frame on that tweet, and it showed the big counter hit spark. So he mashed after, and Yoshimitsu just got a counter hit flash. And
ये
yeah.
बिलाल की बात कर रहा है.
yeah. So I talked about it, how the counter hit spark has already given us everything we need and more. If you even go to like older Tekken, it was super hard to counter hit confirm it. 58 seconds. Asuka hits like, oh, that was a pretty cool thing right away that immediately shifted my perspective. I also come from
ये गेम डायरेक्टर है, इसी ने हीट वीट फालतू का गेम में लाया है ये.
compared to say like MA fighters or things like that. I knew exactly where to look. I was concerned that text would make me not know where to look after, right? Or like I'd get distracted by all the clutter. But then I saw that they put it on the side and kind of high up, so it was like somewhat reasonable. So every time I looked at it, I felt better and better about it as time on. I agree that the combo damage is a little too much information. Like we can see health bar going down, we judge the distance.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense to maybe
बैलेंस टीम में तो एक
combo hits. I
अच्छा
also
प्लेयर
know
है
it's true.
मिशिमा
Kayla
स्टार.
said, I'm doing the combo. I know how many hits I'm doing.
Funny.
I forget, so it's gonna happen.
Really?
But I also think you could go either way with that one. But I think, especially after having worked with so many people who have just started in, things like Punish will really help a lot. Things like Tornado, you would be surprised, especially if you're a Tekken veteran, how with so many things happening on the screen, your opponent doing so many things, you're taking in all this info. Even like the stages have more visual information than they used to. It can be easy to just, your brain will gloss over the fact that the camera zoomed in and sound, So I think
बाप
those
रे,
tiny
क्या है
changes
ये
I've
सब?
become more in favor of as I saw how
Stance.
they I do hope they clean it up. I do hope it like stays out of the way, just because I do prefer that minimalist Tekken vibe and look. But yeah. I think it's not as bad as I personally thought it was gonna be. I was like dooming about guys, like we don't need this at all. Keep it on the Tekken. And I'm like, it's okay.
I do
Bazooka.
wonder if it's going to make a difference for the multi-hit moves, like Nii was saying, like the back 1-2-2, which is quite delayable and confirmable. So even if the back one is on hit, honestly, sometimes I can't tell if Law's back one is a counter hit or not. And it always impresses me when people confirm that, because it's not very easy to tell visually. But if I really do feel like the back one
हाँ, बड़ा cheap लगता है इस गेम में.
moves like that. Sorry,
जीतो तो.
I'm not trying to just single out Law, right? But I think that honestly there might be some characters that
उल्टा
have
सीधा
a
move
lot of
मार
time
के.
to delay their string or confirm their counter hit. That if the counter thing comes up, it just makes it a lot easier. I think it's not a bad thing. I think it's fine, but it's just something to consider. Talk about something to consider though. We have Anno that is shown that she can actually apply a debuff to other characters. This is something completely new that has not been seen before. As you can see,
फालतू का debuff मैकेनिक ये क्यों दे दिया ऐसे?
And once I think one of the Katsu does it, you'll see here that there is a purple aura around the character, around Nina, on her character's picture on the top corner, and as well as a body. You can visually tell that there is a debuff. Now, what this debuff does is that it allows Anna to deal chip damage with every move she has, including jabs. And we know that Anna has a lot of jab strings and a lot of ways to be able to deal chip damage with strings. So I want to know what you guys think about this debuff, and this might be something they're trying to do with other characters as well.
आपने तो छोड़ ही दिया था गेम बीच में.
What do you think of this debuff from Anna?
पैच नोट्स का वेट कर लो.
Fantastic changes, keeping the game
के बाद
fresh,
थोड़ा
something new.
better idea हो
So
जाएगा.
we have something new in the game. No, I'm joking. I think.
Oh, you're joking? Okay.
I don't like it. They need to change that, in my opinion. I don't like what they're doing with that, and I think they mentioned in Heat she does more chip, which is I'm not a fan.
पैच नोट्स आ जाए बस.
Again, they did talk about before. They wanted to nerf chip damage and whatnot, and then they got this new debuff state, which is amazing. I don't know. Again, I'm just gonna wait until I play for myself, but it doesn't look good. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay, Kobe, Kavis?
I like, that's my main thing, is like they mentioned we're gonna tone down chip damage. We understand. We saw ETC finals. Like we understand.
हीट डालनी नहीं चाहिए था यार, फालतू में
and
हीट
it
वगैरह
comes
डाल
with a
दिया.
debuff that applies chip damage to everything. Like and you can do it on block. You block the string, and then everything. Like to me, it's like the direction is confusing because why say that and then give her a debuff?
Kawis looks like he's in the debuff right now, bro. Look at his camera. Kawis got debuffed.
Bro, like, I can talk about it.
पढ़ेगा कौन पैच नोट सारे
Guys, it sucks.
TLDR करना पड़ेगा उसका किसी को
I don't understand, and I think what Joker said is right. Like like eventually this is gonna come to more characters. Like this is how they did it in Tekken 7. Like Geese was the first character to get a wall bounce. Then everyone gets wall bounces. Falcon Ram, Lidio, the only ones that have guard breaks. Steve had a guard break. How many characters have guard breaks now? I feel like this is the first step for characters that have more debuffs that deals kind of chip, and it's like
Group therapy.
in the first place we want to turn down chip damage, and then Anna comes with this.
वो साइड स्टेप बफर एक बार ट्राई करके देखना पड़ेगा जो साइड स्टेप बफर ऐड किया है उन्होंने ये बफर कर सकते हैं
that they can deal chip damage by applying this debuff. It's not going to be a universal thing, but if it's like an Anna only thing, I think that's really cool actually. Speakers, what do you think?
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking the whole time. I'm not inherently against this idea of characters applying debuffs that do chip damage, right? My
backdash भी तो
issue,
सही
I
नहीं
play
है
like 2D fighting games. There's a lot of 2D fighting games where
साइड
characters
स्टेप
have
से
like unique
इंप्रूव ना
mechanics, like
थोड़ा
just game defining mechanics on one character alone, right? Like if I think about the debuff, I think about was it Fong in Street Fighter 5 and Aki in Street Fighter 6, right? But those characters are designed around that, right? They're designed around applying the debuff and the game plan around actually getting the debuff off, and then how much reward they get when their opponent is poisoned and stuff like that, and not much else. They don't have much else. So when you play the character, you really feel, oh, I have to do this. I have to make this mechanic work for me.
कोरियन बैकडैश
With
इनके
Anna,
लिए
they showed off
अनइंटेंडेड मैकेनिक
her
है भाई
having a pretty solid punish game,
Seven.
pretty above average mix-up game from standing, above average stance mix-up game, obvious heat strength, right? And then so everything.
हाँ माइनस पे तुमने अगर बैक
if
बैक
you
कर
give her
दिया
that
ना तो
alone,
ब्लॉक ही
you
नहीं
know, this is a
करता
really
है
strong mix-up character. Why are we giving her
सब मूव्स लग जाएंगे
a unique game mechanic along with that goes towards heat, where we had or goes towards chip, where we had characters like
काजिया के
Kuma,
FF3 के
who's
बाद मैंने बैकडैश
like
किया
supposed to
तो
be around the chip, right? Like that was kind of like his
हीट
thing.
स्मैश लग
Like
जाता है कभी कभी
Anna is both a chip
होल्ड
character and
बैक
a mix-up
हाँ
character and a punish character and a neutral character.
Pacing
Like,
कर
it's
ही
too
नहीं
much,
सकते
right? There's no definition here.
I think that if they want to, I agree with you. I think that it's similar to King, right? King is a grappler. Yet we see the John play King and he doesn't grapple. Like, do you know what I mean? Like he has won tournaments by using forward 4 neutral 2, down 4 2 1, jab. That's it.
Don't forget muscle armor. Muscle armor.
Oh, muscle,
that's
of course,
important.
yeah, muscle armor,
even
of course.
even when it
Spams that,
doesn't go off, yeah, even when it doesn't hit, he just does it in neutral, kind of let him know.
Yeah, having and one of the best defenses.
पता नहीं कब आएंगे पैच नोट्स एक दो दिन पहले आ जाने चाहिए
any running moves and getting them scared, and it's like got very little counterplay. So like, but he has all these moves, but he's supposed to be a grappler.
This is the end.
Why not kind of buff the throws? But
पता नहीं कैसे
like having the best counter hit tools in the game and the best.
कैसे चलेगा ये गेम 8-10
I
साल
mean, I'm not against the debuff thing, but I think that if they want to play around that to be one of her strengths, then they should give her some obvious weaknesses as well, right? Fee, what do you think?
I feel kind of like an old head. I'm like, the first thing I think of is like, well, what's next? What's the next gimmick they're gonna add? You know what I mean? And I think we've seen gimmick creep to some extent in this. So I think of like a character like Yoshimitsu. To me, he's had this like the Flash was a unique move, his own gimmick for a long time, right? Yeah. And they designed his entire character on his ability to.
Brian का मैचअप खराब है किंग के अगेंस्ट में
a unique sidestep. To have the
मसल आर्मर है यार बड़ा बहुत annoying लगता है मुझे
really cool. Ling Xiaoyu uniquely has this evasive stance where she disappears off
FF2 काजिया को मार ही नहीं सकता किंग के अगेंस्ट
And now we've gone into Tekken 8 where characters are keeping their gimmicks and getting strengths overall. I also think immediately of my experience of coaching newer players, and already the move sets alone are so overwhelming to learn. Like, what does my opponent want to do? And then adding
everything,
a metagame gimmick on top of that is
गली में मोमोज की दुकान.
Right? So I think that I personally miss kind of having a character's gimmick be built into their toolkit. Right? Like that's like she punished me. I'm guessing that was her gimmick to me.
Right.
Way before.
वो उसका बैकडैश नर्फ कर दिया ना इतना तो लो मसल आर्मर ले लो.
Obviously, and that opinion to me comes separate of how strong the gimmick is. It could be a really overpowered gimmick. It could be a really weak gimmick. But I think just from the perspective of somebody learning to fight against a Tekken character, it's an extra layer of information overload that I think needs to be accounted for. Right? Like Speed said, if a character is a gimmick character, let's design everything around that in a very like surgical manner. But I have a hunch that she's going to be doing to me what she did in Tekken 7.
Job है कुछ लोगों का ये तो ये तो लग.
Yeah.
And how will I explain to somebody that like you're concerned about the crouch, you're concerned about this? If you turn purple,
Asnash बोल तो रहा था कि उसे खेलना ही पड़ेगा गेम जैसा भी है.
Add 35 characters and you start adding more and more characters. I think it's really a lot to consider.
Something I want to add is I just think they're implementing these new like gimmicks or mechanics or whatever. I think it's all testing for the future. Like we saw this with guard breaks with Fakram, and everyone eventually got a guard break. I think it's the same case. I feel like everyone's gonna eventually have a debuff state, which sounds fantastic again.
I think like I said, I don't mind it if the character if that becomes a part of that character's identity. Not that because it's not a part of a character's identity if everyone has it. So I'll give you an example. Look at Tekken 7. We had characters that had 16 frame launches as their fastest launches, right? Zafina, Marduk in the past in Tekken Tag 2, Anna, Raven. Now Raven still had the 16 frame with the downfall 2. Anna's downfall 2 was 16. Bob didn't have a 15 frame launcher, and all of those characters were given 15 frame launches. Bob up forward 4, Anna down forward 2, Marduk down forward 1 from Tag 2 to Tekken 7. And it was a little bit annoying for me because I feel like one of the things that was so cool about those characters
टैग 2 तो तब भी मुझे बेटर लगता है टेकन 8 से.
okay, especially in this game in Tekken 8, rage arts are -15. So you look at Jun
उसमें पर डैमेज बहुत है वही टैग मैकेनिक की वजह से.
a rage art with that character, you have to use Damak 1, and I think that's a weakness of the character, not a crazy one. Damak 1 still does a lot of damage, but
Korean Mr.
I
Scene.
think that one of the beautiful things about Tekken characters for me, and watching Tekken as a commentator and playing as a player, is to see players work around their weaknesses. And then I think as time has gone on, it's become a little bit more difficult.
Leroy तो buff लगता है.
If I ask you what is Jin's weakness as it is right now,
+5 low Leroy के पास.
Answer what is Jin's weakness. Now Jin players will try to answer that question because they're all down players, and I think I don't know if you're on something, but like they'll try to answer that question. They shouldn't. They should just shut up. But it's like Jin and also other characters as well. I feel like they've kind of homogenized a lot of these characters. But I think isolated, I don't have a problem with the debuff thing. I just think that hopefully it can be one of maybe Anna's identity things. But like you said, Fee, I hope that there are some weaknesses of the character as well that you can clearly explain to someone who is who is new, who you're coaching, and say, this is what you watch out for when Anna's in crouch. Very, very, very dangerous. Here's your counterplay, and blah, 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 blah. But here are some weaknesses that you can exploit against the character if you move laterally to this direction and this, that, the other. So I think that's what Tekken's all about. Let's hope that Anna is not going to be too strong. But talking about strong and Anna, this
ये तो हर जगह पहना रहता है, ये नहीं उतारेगा.
Losing their shit. Here we go. Anna running 4 into the bazooka and in heat did like 64 damage. Guys, what do you think about this? Kay was to ask you right now, man. What do you think? Bazooka and in heat.
Yeah, +1 block low.
Kay was to ask you right now, man. What do you think?
I prefer not to speak.
Can you just play the Joker video? Is that possible? Because that's how I felt.
64 damage.
Let me see that again. Hang on. Let's see the damage again. In heat, running 4, bam, bam, bam. And something that someone said, I forgot who it was. Anna could do a heat engager and be +17, and then you're gonna have to take that. That's scary to me, man. I don't know. I mean, it's just a move. It can be nerfed. It's not the end of the world, but I'm scared. Is anyone else scared?
It goes back to heat engagers, because again, heat engagers are +17. That low is what I-16, and it's safe in heat. You can't low parry it. You can't sidewalk it. You
एक month delay.
to either block it or take the 60 plus damage plus the heat engage situation.
हाँ पर ये
I wonder if her down forward too still launches crouch.
टेस्टिंग ही नहीं करते ना अपडेट की, या तो कुछ टेस्ट करवा लो किसी से,
right? Like literally for
प्लेयर से टेस्ट करवा लो, सीधा रिलीज कर
I
देंगे.
can do the mid. I'm +17. I can do what I want, and it's safe. It's safe on block.
Yeah, it does say though counter hit, and this is something I didn't notice. It says counter hit, so I wonder if it's a counter hit NCC rather than an NC. Because if it's NC, bro, that would be insane.
Bro, it might be natural, man. Honestly,
Natural low.
But I don't know, man. That move is a bit crazy. But I think one of the craziest things about this move, counter hit or not, is if you block it, I think that it's very difficult to punish. If not, it's not punishable, right? Like, let's have a look here what happens. So Anna's in heat, does the thing. I think there is time between the first hit and the second hit for you to maybe get like a punish on it. But if you don't, then yeah, you're not punishing that. But look at the pushback. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Didn't it walk rush?
It does,
Yeah,
we'll
it
show that.
हाँ वॉल पे करो.
Yo.
कितना plus है ये?
Okay. That is a funny move. That's great. That's,
Oh man.
क्या सोच के डाल दिया ये?
Black Ops
Yeah.
4.
it's crazy, man. Like, I think this move is a big problem, the whole design and concept of it. And I just hope it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope there's some real counterplay. But I mean, we can't judge it before we get the game. And I know there's people that get really angry when I say that. Like, you can't judge it, Spag. You're seeing it right now. But like, let's I guess we can wait. But I guess I know what you guys think about that. The final thing. So the final thing I want to say about about Anna is this right here, the Heat Smash. Now, when I was interviewing the Koreans in the last Heat Speak, we had Ni, CVM, Ulsan
Dol
on the
Leroy.
show, and I asked them what was something that you
Perfect
guys
game.
like a little bit.
Perfect
You
game
know,
है भाई.
what do you think is one of the bigger problems in Tekken 8? You know that you guys find, and they said that Heat Smashes are a bit too strong. And then they, so I see Anna's Heat Smash here. They showed that it has high evasion, and it's a 13 frame wall splatting, wall breaking Heat Smash. What do you guys think of this?
13 frame.
Again, I think a fantastic heat smash. I think I need No, I think this is a big problem, man. I-13, they even said it high crushes. I think this is not good. We've seen, Kuma's heat smash, and I don't like how someone like Anna has this as well. And I think it
ये तो
recovers
क्राउड से
in
भी कर
full
सकते हैं
crash
हीट स्मैश तो
on block,
हैचेट
right?
पनिश कर देगी ऐसे ये
I
तो.
think
That's what
so.
they said.
Oh boy!
Which is
boy! I didn't know that.
like there should not be a mix-up situation after a heat smash on block. Like we need to get rid of these situations. It's not good, and especially when Anna's in full crouch, I don't want to guess. Please just leave me alone.
Do you agree with that, Fee?
Yeah, I immediately tweeted. I said we need to have a conversation about these 13 frame high evading heat smashes. And as the talk went on, it feels that high evasion is a feature. We saw Azucena's new low, the full
Lydia.
intentionally evading a Jin high,
Yeah.
right? So
Lydia coin flip character.
in general, this also added to the whole like, well, how are we supposed to defend against this? Truly just a stand block or crouch block? Is it a sidestep? Is it a sidewalk? Is it because mashing is now being taken out of it, even like a jab? So, and I think that again, we talked earlier in the talk about how the increase of coverage reduces in the amount of gameplay we get, and I think the amount of gameplay
मैं
as
तो
a
सोच रहा हूँ
defender
Kuma
is
खेल
something
लूँ.
that may need more consideration. I think it's not just the fact that like the power level of a jab being evaded.
मूवमेंट का फायदा है ही नहीं. Kuma खेल लो.
You generally taught that your jab is a fast move to try and stop your opponent's offense.
Yeah.
Well, there's an exception. It's if they're in heat, then all of a sudden your jab doesn't mean much, right? So you really do have to guess. I think that experience is a frustrating one that may not be getting enough consideration in that defenders want options too, even at lower levels, right? Like I want to hit somebody out.
इसको +6 वाला दिखाई नहीं रहा high homing.
I 100%. I think
120 chip down.
from what we're saying is, I think from the beginning of this podcast, what we've been saying up to this point is that I think giving making nerfs to certain characters and giving the defender more options isn't going to make the game too much less aggressive or less aggressive at all. I just think that it just makes the mind game of the game a lot more fun, a lot not overly complicated, but just a lot more fun to watch. So look for example at Kuma. I say to everyone, if you're playing against Kuma, if he's in heat, do not jab. Don't jab because he has an electric that goes under your jab, cleanly beating your jab, and will
back forward too.
God knows how much damage. But he also has a 13 frame high evasion heat smash as well. So I mean, the jab is completely taken out of the game. When you're playing against Kuma and you have a jab, do not use it. That is, I mean, and most Kuma players will tell you that as well. And I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. It's like when you have like what is the counterplay? I think it's kind of scary, man. But yeah, either way, that's the heat smash. But let's move on to something that I think Kwis and Speakix are going to be very opinionated about. And the key charge change. So key charge
vanilla में था ना
grants a counter hit on hit. It now just gives you an extra 50% of damage.
आगे patch notes?
I know they specifically mentioned Huarang and how broken Huarang is, with down back 4 being one of the best lows in the game, giving 1 million damage. What do you think of this, man?
This is bullshit, bro. I'm sorry. Like, this is actually, bro. Like, here's how I look at it. Like, what is the reason to just completely destroy what key charge was for so long? Like,
सरप्राइज नहीं होगा मैं अगर हैचेट भी काउंटर हिट लॉन्चर बना दिया. कुछ भी बैलेंस करते हैं ये.
It's literally high risk, high reward. I don't understand how that is technically a bad thing. Like, it's high risk, high reward. There's a lot of low risk, high reward in Tekken 8. Like, this is just a nice high risk, high reward thing. Like, and again, if I do the key charge, you can just stay down. At one hit and then it's over. It's like I'm very confused as to why they showed Hwarang doing it too. Like they really wanted me to know. But like yeah, I don't understand why you would take this out. Like, and my theory is, remember like Akuma's jump over.
Yes.
So instead of nerfing that for Akuma, they took out jump overs for everyone, and Akuma could still do his jump over.
Yeah.
I think it's a case of they think this for Hwarang was too strong.
King
Instead
it.
of nerfing Hwarang specifically, it's just okay. Key charges have to,
but key it.
Their utility has to change. But yeah, I'm now key charges are just for BM. I think I'm gonna see a key charge.
I wonder what the utility is. Joker, what do you think about this change to key charging? I know you didn't really use key charges at all. There wasn't much setups you could do with Heihachi or Feng, but what's your take on this?
I really don't care. I just remember like I played Kwis before the Tekken talk, and he was just using this shit. And then I saw this change, and I was like, man, I wonder what Kwis is thinking. But yeah, I don't really mind this too much. It's whatever to me.
Okay, yeah, cool. Speed?
Whatever, man.
Interestingly enough, I don't really care.
Huh?
I didn't.
You
I
laugh,
didn't
you lose.
use what, bro?
करना
You
करना.
know, if a lot of times if your round came down to if you did or did not land a key charge setup, you weren't supposed to win that round in the first place. And if you did, and if you did win it, you know, if you did win the round, you probably didn't deserve it. I'm just throwing that one out there. Anyway, but on the other side, right? Like, I don't care too much about the key charge, but it was a bit weird for them to kind of just show it off. Like when I've never been hit by a key charge and thought, yeah, this should be out of the game. You know what I mean? Like it's never been something that was like a big like important thing, and I think some people liked it. So I don't know why they decided to not only take it off or like remove it, but showcase it in the Tekken Talk. And then the response was Harada's response to it, like people talking about the key charge thing, was also kind of wild to me because in the response he basically said, yeah, key charge was something me and my buddy made up in like 5 minutes, and
Good night online world.
deal. So you know, why do you guys care that much? And then he went on to say like, yeah, the taunts like the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Basically saying that like, yeah, these things have been part of the game forever, and I know you guys are like super obsessed with the game and like, all the mechanics of it, but any of this could go, right? We could do this to anything that you like about this game right now, today. It could be gone. You know, there could be no more. What do you like about taking rounds? We can make it 2. We can do it. We can do it all. None of this matters, right? So I think that response was pretty wild. I think, you know, I think people might be.
Harada तो सबको ब्लॉक कर रहा है Twitter पे.
I think just going ahead and saying, yeah, none of these core mechanics matter at all to me. Like, wasn't the move.
Yeah, I think it's not just the Horong players. They showed Horong here, but a lot of characters could actually do cool stuff with key charges. Like if you look at Asuka, she has a key charge.
सबका counter hit हटा दिया.
But she also is she was very dangerous in key charge. You know, she could do Can's launcher and then just hit you with a 1+2, which is a safe mid launcher. And I think I was always
one round game, stone paper scissors.
Go into key charge.
खेलो ही नहीं.
And I remember Black Kazama. Shout out to Black Kazama, a legendary Asuka player from Tekken 7. And this guy would always, when he's about to lose, key charge. And then he would do key charge, and then you'd be like, I need to attack him because I don't want to get hit. And then he'd rage art, bro. And it's like the most big brain thing ever, right? Like your key charge in a key charge set, you can't actually block, right? And then this guy will see you run up, he'll see you running to him, and he'll do a rage art, man. But it was fun to watch, you know. And his player expression. I want to read, Rip, obviously Rip, a legendary commentator and player. He was not happy with this because of course he's been around for a very long time, and he's known to have a bit of a
key charge सबका नहीं हटाना चाहिए था.
Unique playstyle with Law, you know, it's very fun to watch. It's very effective in the first 2 in tournaments. And he says key charge.
You just called him shit without calling him shit.
I mean, no, I said he's unique and he's very good in first 2, bro. I didn't say you shit. Look, he's instigated. Don't listen to him. We're not there yet. We'll get there soon. Key charge. No longer giving counter hit is the worst change since removing jump over wall tech catches in Tekken 7. They took something that was situationally character specific and nerfed the entire game because of it again. So I mean, he wasn't very happy with that one. Svi, I mean, you're the last person to ask about this. What do you make of the key charge?
हाँ, Kazuya के Heaven's Gate का Hellseal के बाद input भी easy कर दिया.
Things I'll say that it's a difference between power level and design that I think.
पहले चीजें easy करो फिर.
If the concern was that people
nerf कर दो, क्योंकि ज़्यादा easy हो गई हैं.
And like losing too quickly off of it, you could have always have made a change. Like if you get a key charge counter hit, the scaling goes crazy, right? Like you get less combo damage.
छोड़ दो Tekken.
I heavily enjoy ideas or mechanics that come from players who.
हाँ, damage तब वही तो nerf हुआ था और क्या nerf हुआ इसमें.
Players who have formed an identity around. They could do a crazy key charge setup. They have layers to that mind game. We see it occasionally in tournament. Like I think Kunimitsu was doing that in the late stage Tekken 7, where she would key charge from a distance, and now her full screen dash is a lot scarier because the 2 counter hit options can launch you.
Kuni का key charge setup है भाई.
I'm a big fan
Real
of
50
expression, even if it may not be the most competitively viable thing.
Slide launch कर देती थी और.
I think like if you think of a couple friends playing like a Discord,
कोई mid था उसके पास.
and one of them shows off this setup because the mode will work against his friend. I like ideas like that, you know. I think that it doesn't have to be about competition or like even like a funny clip that gets posted. I just like the idea of player creativity, and the redemption of that is something I'm not a fan of. Again, regardless of how strong it is, it could be the weakest thing.
हाँ, तो depressed बैठा रहता है भाई. हर Tekken Talk में बस चुपचाप chat पढ़ता रहता है.
Say you're labbing a new character and you want to see what something does on counter hit. You don't have to pause, go to the menu, turn on counter hit. That's a small thing I just realized.
Yeah, it's just funny looking at you, Kayus, because you I can't get over that you're debuffed, and we're watching you. The key charge set was gone as well. It's not looking good, man, but it's okay, Kayus. You're gonna survive, man. It's all good. My opinion is very similar to Speakers. I think, and be like, I think that it's sad that you know, there are some players who have this kind of expression, and it's gone. I don't think key charge was a problem. I don't think anyone was complaining about it. So I think it's very strange to me that it was changed. But
कर दो भाई, tweet block कर दे.
Next up, we have here another change: realignment on combos when you sidestep. So this is something I'm very interested to see what you guys think. I've seen actually different opinions here. I've seen some people be very angry, some people be kind of whatever. They're like, I don't care.
ये सही change है. Back turn देखना, back turn भी realignment हो जाएगा क्या?
And going for launch, and still, and you see Jin will actually realign, so the axis of the combo is straight again.
पर अभी
So that
वॉल पे
Jin
हेल
doesn't
स्वीप
drop
के
the
बाद
combo, and Jin actually
कॉम्बोज
notices that the back 4-2 actually
शायद और
works
अच्छे हो
nice,
जाएं
right?
इसकी वजह से.
Fee, I'll actually start with you this time. What do you make of this change here of the realignment on the combos?
I didn't like it, and I want to get more info on how specifically it behaves. I wasn't able to really tell. Was it the first launcher, like a multi-hit launcher that does it? Because they showed Lydia as an example, like sidewalking far, and then it realigned, and people were kind of like, "What?" But it already does that. We tested it in the current version, so it's a matter of how extreme is the realignment. How does it realign every hit mid combo? Is it just the launcher? There's a lot of details, but assuming it's the kind of auto correction that I guess a lot of people are assuming, where every hit of the combo starts to realign it, I don't like it because there are character specific combos that benefit from being off axis. Like first thing came to my mind was like Lily do glide cancels. Like she can do a bunch of extra cancels if she's off axis.
रैंक रीसेट तो ताकि
So,
प्लेयर्स खेले. हाँ,
if they're
सबने
able to
छोड़
do
दिया
that
है.
kind of thing, again in line with creativity, regardless of power level, I think that's cool. One of the biggest complaints people in my comments were giving was that I should be rewarded for getting a sidestep. I read my opponent, give me my reward. And while I can agree with that sentiment, I think
एक तो ये दिखा भी नहीं पा रहा है
again,
सही
what
से
has kept
ये
me really
रियलाइन.
interested in Tekken is all of this extra depth and complexity and expression that comes from being aware of these tiny differences. If I'm off axis, I'll adjust my combo. And I don't think it's the end of the world if you have to do a 10 damage less combo because you're off axis a bit, or you might even get a higher damage combo, again, depending on the character. So I'm not a fan of the change.
So let me ask you a question. You
PDX.
have coached a lot of newer players. Don't you think
इसको
that
तो
it's
गेम
a-
पसंद है
let's
PDX
say
को.
you teach a new player, completely new player, a bread and butter
कभी
combo.
क्रिटिसाइज
They
ही
then
नहीं
go into
करता.
ranks and they sidestep down 4-2 and they try that combo and it
जिन
works and they're like, what happened?
पता
Why
नहीं
didn't it
यार.
work? Don't you think that that could
टू
have
वन
gotten
फोर
motivated players and they're like,
माइनस
this
10
is
कर दिया.
very
डाउन टू काउंटर हिट
complexity.
हटा
That's
दिया. पर
why you told them that you got to change your combo when you sidestep.
बाकी
Right?
उसे
Don't you
वो
think
दे
that
दिया.
adds a
मॉर्निंग क्रो
step
दे
more
दिया
hype to
डेविलजन
the
जैसा.
That's something I thought of earlier.
रनिंग
And
3
anytime
के
I learn a
बाद
new
स्टैंड्स
character,
में
I
जा
always
सकता
ask
है.
for like an axis stable combo. So every time I taught a new player, the
कॉम्बोज
combos
बेटर
we
कर
worked
दिए.
on
स्ट्रॉन्ग
were
टेल
very
स्पिन दे
different.
दिया जिनको.
So I would accept that they would lose maybe some damage in order to
इसका है
alleviate
ना
that issue. I felt
ये
like it was a thing that was
कंटेंट
set
क्रिएटर है
very
ना.
good in the
सारे
teaching method.
कंटेंट
And in the
क्रिएटर्स
same way, when I
मोस्टली
taught people
सबको
combos,
गेम पसंद ही आ रहा है.
outside
मेन
of their
मैन
very first Tekken
PDX.
combo, I actually did it on a walled stage
बस
because I wanted
मेड्यूसा
them
एक है
to
जो
see what could
क्रिटिसाइज
happen
करता है
if
को.
you're doing the combo and it ends up hitting the wall.
Right.
And like maybe that's a few extra layers and a bit extra difficulty, but in games it happens all the time. So I thought if you have a combo that you know will work no matter the axis,
विशाल तो अभी से
then you're only
फ्रेम्स
doing
ही
so
पता
because
चल
of
गए.
that. And if you care enough to milk out more damage and start to optimize, you can dig into that, and there are resources. But for me, I thought
और
it
वो
was
लार्स
okay,
वाला
give
मूव दे
people a
दिया
stable
उसे
combo as their bread and
जिन
butter,
को.
give up the damage, let them figure out what they want later.
Speed. What do you make of this change here with the axis?
You know, for me, it's kind of the same as the key charge thing. I don't care that much.
अब
But,
फॉरवर्ड 2
like,
माइनस 10
you know,
कर दिया
to me,
शायद
it
ये
just means
11.
there's a different threshold of where my off axis combo is necessary. Right. So where if I was slightly off axis before, I would have to do the
बैक
off axis
लॉन्च
combo.
भी ऑटो
Now I have to
रियलाइन
be
हो
a little bit
जाएगा.
more off axis to do the off axis combo. And when if it's only
तो
slightly off
ब्रायन
axis,
का
I do
जो
my
बैक
normal
टर्न कॉम्बो है
forward facing combo. Right. It's not
इसका
that the
डैमेज नहीं कम
craziest
हो
change
जाएगा
to
क्योंकि
me,
वो बैक टर्न की
but
वजह से इतना
it's
ज्यादा.
again one of those. It's like I said, like the key charge thing. They're just so willing to rip up like ways that people have already been playing the game, just kind of
ये
destroy
देखो
like
आसुको.
the skill that someone had gotten into. Or there's some people who who do spend their time like caring about these slightly off axis things, right?
बैक
And it's
टर्न
just
कब
like I
रियलाइन
just
हो गया.
do the off axis.
Later. If we could alleviate with the teaching method. And in this
अरे ये
when I
बैक
taught people
टर्न नहीं
combos,
ज्यादा.
alleviate that issue. I felt like it was a thing that was like we could alleviate with the teaching method.
हाँ
And in the
हाँ
same
ये
way,
रहा.
when I taught people combos, outside of their very first Tekken combo, I actually did it on a wall
पूरा
stage
बैक टर्न
because
नहीं
I
है
wanted them
ऑलमोस्ट.
to see what could happen. if you make the
इंसिनरेटर
combo
का
and
पता
end up
नहीं
hitting
है.
the wall. And like maybe that's a few extra layers and a bit extra difficulty, but in games it happens all the time. So I thought if you have a combo that you know will work no matter the axis, then your only concern becomes the wall.
अब
And if
सब
you care
पैच
enough to
नोट में
milk out the damage and
देखेंगे.
start to optimize, you can dig into that, and there are resources. But for me, I thought it was
माइनस
okay, give
वन.
people a stable combo as their bread and butter, give up the damage, let them figure out what they want later.
Speed. What do you make of this change here with axis?
For me, it's kind
डेविलजन
of
का
the
तो
same as the
प्लस
key charge
रहता
thing.
है.
I don't care that much, but like to me, it just means there's a different
वो
threshold
चेन
where my
के
off
बाद
axis
जो
combo is
जाता.
necessary. Right. So where if I was slightly off axis before, I would have to do the off axis combo. Now I have to be a little bit more off axis to do the off axis combo. And if it's only slightly off axis, I do my normal forward facing combo. Right. It's not that the craziest change to me, but it's again one of those. It's like I said, like the key charge thing. They're just so willing to rip up like ways that people have already been playing the game, just kind of destroy like
हाँ
the
यार
skill that
लेगेसी
someone had gotten
मैकेनिक्स
into. Or there's some
हटा
people
दे
who
रहे हैं
who do
सारे.
spend their time like caring about these slightly off axis things, right? And it's just like seeing it kind of destroyed for very little reason
सब इजी
is
कर दो
not
भाई.
cool to me, even though I personally don't care.
4-5 साल जो खेला है उसका कुछ है ही नहीं. सब
For me,
सब
I'm a
खुद
bit
ही
like
होगा.
that. I don't like this change. I think again caters to like the
पर
new
काजिया
players
के
who
लिए
kind of
सही है
like
यार.
being
उसके
able
बहुत
to
इनकंसिस्टेंट है.
showcase like
Off
off axis
axis.
combos. I think it shows where a player is when it comes to their skill level. So
3-1-4 भी ड्रॉप हो जाता है साइड स्टेप के
positive
बाद.
change, but again, I guess it makes sense since
पैच
targeting
नोट्स
newer players.
पता नहीं कब रिलीज करेंगे भाई. 10-15 पेज के हो सकते हैं
Kind of
वो.
in similar to Fee and like my initial reaction is I'm not
नहीं
doing
patch
that,
notes
but
नहीं
I
आया
want
अभी
to
तो.
see how extreme it is. Like, if I'm literally like behind them and I launch them, are we going like full 180 and we're completely on axis? You know, I need to see. And again, maybe it might actually like screw more things up because in the Lydia example, there's a point where they went for a jab and it whiffed because they weren't like she realigned a bit, but she wasn't completely on axis. So
नहीं
that
नहीं वो
literally
मजाक कर
might
रहे थे.
make things worse in the long run. But again, it's one we just really have to just wait and see how it impacts our gameplay, how other people use it. Can we still do similar combos or same combos? But like, I don't know. It's like maybe it's catering a bit too much.
Early
to
access. वो
how
hatchet
good you
counter
want
hit
to
launcher
learn.
बता रहे थे.
If you know what I mean,
Yeah.
because like you should know if you're off axis, you do the off axis combo, and like you should just be able to know that and do that. But I don't know, like because sometimes I don't know, my opinions come from the point of because I play this game so much, you should just know this, right? But like
Street
I
Fighter तो
don't
तब
know
भी
how
balanced है.
legitimately that works. But like, yeah, it's like I don't know, just learn the off axis combo. You know, are they like okay? People don't do
उसमें
that.
तो
Then
हमेशा
they
से ही
don't
chip
they can
damage
wait
था
forever
ना.
and do it. You know,
Tekken
so
में नहीं
that's
डाल
kind of
सकते chip
yeah,
damage.
I find worrying. But it's a thing we have to literally see for ourselves how it impacts other characters before we can like.
Street Fighter तब भी बहुत
Yeah,
balanced है.
there's one more thing I
और
wanted to
उसमें
say.
एक साल बाद
There's
balance patches
this
आते
idea
हैं.
that developers have that if something requires an extra step to
अरे
make
हाँ
it
वही
work
मजाक
in the
कर
same
रहे थे.
combo,
Counter hit launcher नहीं.
right? There's this idea that like if my offense does, if I have to realign for my offense to work, this character needs a homing move, right? If
Nice.
I have to
Emperor
not
पहुंच गया.
not play the immediate high of the string because there's no mid option, and instead of doing a high mid mix up, you do a finish the string or not finish the string kind of mix up, right? There's something wrong with this character. Give him a mid on the string, right? If your combo doesn't work because you're off axis, this combo actually is the system is actually broken. Let's fix that instead of asking the player to do a different combo, learn a different combo, right? They
देख
want
रहा
us to
हूँ
have
ये
to
क्या
kind of
बोल रहे
do
हैं.
less to make things work
Speed kicks,
how
speed
they
kicks.
think stuff is supposed to work. But doing stuff is a part of why we play a video game. We play a video game to sit down and do a bunch of stuff and see who wins, right? So
पुराने
I
players
think
हैं ये.
taking out all these extra
Speed
steps
kicks
to
तो
make
सबसे पुराना है
the
यहाँ पे.
characters, the designs, the combos work is just removing gameplay.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons why I really love Tekken is actually because of that complexity. And I don't think it's over complicated. I think that it's like
हाँ भाई cool
if
बन
you're
गया मैं
off
वीडियो
axis,
देख
you're
के.
on a certain axis, then just do that combo. I think my biggest fear is what Fee said, which is, for example, let's say Lily when she's going, she needs to be slightly off axis in order to get the back one loops into the combo, right? And I hope that isn't gone because that is something that as a viewer, as a commentator, as a player,
ये कितने फ्रेम की पनिश है
that isn't
आसुका
gone
की?
because that is something that
14 खेलता है आसुका. लॉन्च पनिश शायद ट्विन पिस्टन लग जाए इस पे.
as a viewer, as a commentator, as a player, I love watching people do those things. You know, it's like, oh wow, he just did an off-axis combo. That's super cool. I'm not saying that they're gone. Like Kay said, we don't know how influential this is going to be or how significant. But I do hope that people can still be expressive with their combos, especially when they have this kind of.
अभी भी मुझे गेम ठीक नहीं लगता
I don't
ये.
think that it was a big issue. I don't think that it was like something that was obviously a problem, you know, for it to be fixed. I don't think it was broken for it to be fixed in the first place, right? It's like you could just do a different combo, and sometimes you could actually do a stronger combo if you're on a kind of weird axis. So, yeah, I think
Punish?
I would kind of weird axis. So,
अच्छा ये पनिश की.
yeah, I think one of the things I would love to say is just that I don't think that a character, like you said, Speak Up, just echoing what you're saying, that I don't think if a character has a weakness or some problem on the face of it, it doesn't need to be fixed. You know, I think
something requiring.
भाई मुझे बस एक ही चीज का वेट है कि काजिया का स्ट्रॉन्ग टेल स्पिन क्या देंगे ये. बस और कुछ भी कर लो गेम में.
individuality, that kind of personality as well. It's like, okay, this character has its weakness, can't do the better button when you sidestep right at this angle or something. It's like, I think it's cool. So I wonder, we'll see how that change works out. Like Kay said, we're gonna have to wait and see. Now I have a bunch of like, right now we're watching on screen Reina
God
versus
में
Asuka, which was a quite
exosuits of
interesting,
advanced.
exhibition here because we saw quite a few things. We saw the punish, we saw a lot of new moves. So Asuka, that's clearly been buffed, right? Is there anything you guys want to mention about this when you watch this? Your first impressions or what?
I really liked this gameplay.
Is there anything you guys want to mention about this when you watch this? Your first impressions or what?
I really
right.
ये सेंटर में ऐसे जा सकती है.
liked this gameplay.
Muscle looking like Ragnar.
Really? What did you like about it, Joker?
It looks like aggressive and it looks very interactive. You know, everyone's interacting with each other.
Really?
वो विशाल
No, if I'm being
टॉक्सिक
serious,
हो रहा है भाई
when I
विशाल
saw this, when I first saw this, I
एजे
was
को
like,
स्क्रब बोल दिया स्क्रब हो भाई तुम न्यू न्यू कमर्स हाँ भाई न्यू कमर्स बोल भाई भाई एक ही एक ही चीज होती है भाई टॉक्सिक चैट न्यू कमर्स स्क्रब है एक ही चीज
is this real? I was surprised, like so many new moves into into stance and stuff. It was crazy, man. Like I don't know, even Asuka's like there's a part where Asuka's
न्यू
spikes are on the
समर अगेन
floor and there's like two hits on the floor, like a
Go
I
forward
don't know
two.
what it was, like some volcano or some shit. I don't know what it was, bro. It was so weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it was the new. I think it's an either 11 or 12 frame punish. I don't know what it is, if it's upward one or something. But in heat, she can get like what 50 something damage for.
It was like
Yeah,
50
like
plus
I
damage.
don't know what that was, man. It looked strange.
It was
It
the
didn't
new
look like
string and then forward two. When forward two's powered up,
ड्रैगन ऑफ प्लेट्स के
will
कोप
cost
करेंगे
this, like Jun's forward two being safe.
Yeah.
But that's what
I
it does.
बस
think
QCF 4 के लिए
Reina is
प्रॉब्लम है
damn
उनका
tuned to Demon's Breath, though. We need to speak about that, man. That stuff was crazy, bro. I got a flashbang, bro. My eyes were hurting after seeing that for the first time, man.
What did you make of it, Fee, when you saw this for the first time?
The immediate things that stood out to me were Reyna's new low, and then the Heat Smash low being usable at least twice, I think, based on how much meter it used up. And I talked about it a bit early in the talk, how I felt that Reyna's identity was kind of built around having these insane mids and highs that cover many ranges and many speeds. And
अरे मैं नहीं खेल रहा भाई
and
आज सारी एनर्जी रायन भाई के अगेंस्ट ही चलेगा
I need more bitrate on Twitch.
अबे हाँ यार ये भी नया दे दिया इसे
If a character requires extra steps, that's a problem. And the extra steps Reyna players were often running into was how to navigate the fact that her lows were very unsafe, aside from side step 4, which is like not that much reward, and how to make her mids and highs hit despite
Do you guys think that was splash? We should do a bet, you know? Does that was splash?
It definitely will.
I will not be able to see if it wall splatted or not. I felt like Reyna's new lows and the ability. The cool part about they're standing still. I want to acknowledge that hitting right.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's like you got now a high crushing low, which high crushing lows are so valuable in any Tekken, you know. And I think depending on what it is on block and you know what it doesn't counter hit and all that kind of stuff, you know, it's. I think
सुशीमा का बहुत बढ़िया है
will play it to one as well, and I'm hoping that. Look how far away.
So look at and the Sentai 1, the spin, the multiple. She can go into multiple stances,
media
the
share
same
हो रहा
move,
है
which is a mix-up of its own. So you not only will you have to guess what they're going to do when they're in the stance, you have to guess what stance they're going to go into when you deal with the move, and then also the Heaven's Wrath. She can go to Heaven's Wrath off of Sentai 1. Like everything, she goes into. She has too many stance transitions, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully, right? You don't know what nerf she got. So maybe the nerfs justify whatever else they're showing here.
Yeah.
But that would require a lot of nerfs because you know what I mean. We're seeing a lot of additions to her character design, which means it'd be a lot of nerfs required to make that balance out.
Right. Yeah. We're hoping that Reina has been
उल्टे सीधे गाने हैं ना
in
ये
other
इसलिए
ways so that these strengths that we're seeing from her in this first one can be, I guess, justified if that's the right word. You've been a bit quiet here. What are you thinking, man?
The thing is, there was one part where Reina did heat engage. I think Reina did heat engage did the full crouch version, but still did a riding move afterwards. And I feel like that extra Like it's like because okay, I take Anna for example. She can do heat engage, and almost always gonna go into crouch, right? Like into crouch, but then she can also have access to the running moves out of that, and obviously just the running slide is the thing. It's like why I feel like if you go into crouch, you shouldn't still have access to the running moves as well for the added for like added additional plus frames. From like doing a slash. I think it was here. Yeah, here. So she goes into did the crouch version. She did the little crawl, and then
डाइवर्जन के देखते हैं क्या बोल रहे हैं लोग।
running through two into stuff.
I don't know what Reina's doing.
Low
आज़
damage
सेना भी बफ हो रही है
response,
भाई, बहुत
and
अनाइंग हो
then if you
जाएगी
try and
मुझे लग
dab,
रहा है।
she has the auto evade, so it's like
Me when I have a nightmare and kick the blankets off. Nice one. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, I think the new full crouch low is annoying, especially because of heat engage change, and then
blockable highs, and it's rough, man.
Joker,
I wasn't liking it.
as a Mishima player, what do you?
I think it's a really good change. They just want more Mishimas in tournaments. It makes sense, honestly.
They want Q-Dance to win. Is that what it is?
Yeah, they want Kudans to win. If I'm being honest, I don't like it. I
Kudans.
again, a move we just seen a new move into stance. again.
उड़ान
I
जीत
don't like
सकता
it
है
at
ऐसे,
all.
ये डाइवर्जन कुछ
The hell sweep one is
ज़्यादा ही
insane
ओपी
to me,
लग रहा है मुझे तो।
honestly. The hell sweep one for me is it makes no sense. It does how much damage? 60 damage. Doesn't take
And
that
that
much
we
of the
we
heat.
that we don't know if that's optimal, by the way. But 60 damage.
Yes, that's what I
Unoptimized
was gonna
combo,
say.
60
We don't
damage.
even know if that's optimal, and it doesn't take that much of the heat bar. Now, again, you saw how much of the heat bar it just took there, and we haven't optimized it. And again, this comes back to what I was saying months ago. Heat consumption for characters is so important, and it just feels like they haven't learned their lesson. Honestly, like why can he do a hell sweep that takes that much? Like, it doesn't even take much, like
Bro,
हाँ,
it
हीट
doesn't
बार
even
कितना
take.
बचा है?
And why does this combo look like it's from a mod move list extractor? Blah blah blah, bro. Whatever it's called.
it ends with
Like,
Heaven Gate. That's gonna floor break.
yeah,
oh
Slow.
yeah.
they need to. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And I love Mishimas. I love watching other Mishima players play, but I'm not a fan.
But again, but why are you not a fan? Is it just because the damage is too much, or like let's say if the heat
तो ये भाई डाइवर्जन
consumption
को
was
जरूरत
half
थी।
the bar, would you be okay with it then?
Yes, if it
Okay.
was half the bar, I'd understand. But you're telling me in heat, I'm gonna have to hold 2-3 health sweeps potentially, and then
81
die.
plus 2 as
Like
well.
डेढ़ है
CD
बताऊँ,
1+2,
डाउनलोड किए हुआ है मैंने
upward
एपिसोड उसका।
2+4, 1+2. Like, nah, man. And it's just sad because I just see so much Devilgen downplay and complaining on Twitter every day, and I guess the developers are listening to them.
That feels like it feels like a heat smash level move.
Yeah,
Oh,
it does.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
look at the damage.
80,
Rage drive.
like the Devilgen optimizers were saying they could probably get 80 at
Yeah,
least.
let Momo Dog touch this move, man.
Yeah,
They're gonna-
Momo
they're
Dog
gonna
said
get 10,000.
82 or something like that, and I was like, so you're telling me they could do that twice?
90
I don't
तक
have
जाता है
enough
रेज
HP
में।
for
More than
that.
twice.
90
twice.
plus।
You can do that 3 times probably.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I don't have enough HP to deal with that, man. So I don't
हीट
know.
में तो
It's like
डक ही
hard
करना
to
पड़ेगा
use
ऐसे
that
डाइवर्जन
excuse
को तो।
right now as well. Like,
Oh
I
my
feel like
god.
डक करे तो
He
FF2
had
का
to go
डैमेज
he had
लो।
to get the Horang down
बाप
playing
रे।
as well.
Can I get extra hell sweep if Devilgen
I-
gets extra of these? That would be nice.
Honestly, I think heat consumption, and again, something I want to mention
Yeah.
is the low heat. I mean, the previously low heat smashes. Like, you're
Yes.
telling me you're going to be able to do that multiple times as well. Like, that is crazy to
So
me.
yeah,
man.
that puts us beautifully onto the next point then. So now previously moves that were low heat smashes are now enhanced moves. As you can see here, Jun has multiple moves actually. She has been given from stance forward 1+2. Previously actually couldn't go in stance, but now she can go into a Miare, which is the
ये
stance with
हाँ
the,
DLC में
projectile,
आ भी सकता है।
and can do a +6 homing move from it. And she can also go
नेक्स्ट
into
गेम में
Izumo,
आएगा या इस गेम में।
where she can do the previously low heat smash. And forward 1+2, by the way, is a chip move. You can see that it's chipped Jin, and it's +6 on block. So they have this is a big
It
change
kicks.
to Jin. Now she can go into multiple stances, and as you can see here, I'm actually going to show you. She went into Mayare and did this homing move, which is 20 frames and +6. And if you keep watching, you'll see her do forward 1+2 into.
गुड नाइट भाई।
She does the.
अब ये देख के बंदी करने
into
वाला।
Izumo, and then also do the low heat smash, which is now not a heat smash. Speed kicks, you made a big reaction there. What do you think?
Oh man, you were listing out so many aggressive properties on June. I'm so glad that this character with cans and back 3 and up forward 3 and forward 2 with punish and all her parries and her sabakis can now also be a stance mix-up character for us. I'm glad.
एम्परर पहुंच गया, वो अब नहीं
You
खेलेगा.
know, the June players, they're really struggling out here.
वो
They've
सोने
always
जा
been
रहा है, एम्परर
confused on
पहुंच
what
गए.
to do.
Well, actually, on the Tekken talk, it was said that Jun previously has had trouble opening up opponents. That's a quote from
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I also had a problem opening up June, so you know I'm glad for her. I'm glad she gets to attack me while I'm struggling to attack her now. That's great.
Okay, so I think Speak is not happy with that. Fee,
Zafina के हाँ, Zafina के changes.
She's a homing mid.
Azazel के moves दे दिए इसे.
Which is a homing plus and block mid. High, and then she also now has running 1+2.
Story mode वाले.
Homing +8 or whatever knockdown. Like she.
There should be counts because going back to Anna's one, like I if I can't step that, if actually if it's plus on block, I can't step it. She goes into full crash after potentially. You know, I feel like there also these power crush heat smashes or something. I don't know, but you know that's the heat smashes like you mentioned, the Korean players mentioned. They're too strong right now, honestly.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. So now we're moving on to quickly. I want to go through these characters quickly if we can. Zafina, and I think we have to talk about Zafina here because I think most people thought that she was
3+4.
She did. Shadow smiling, and I'm smiling, man. I'm kind of happy as well. But I do have an
इसका
issue with
Zafina
one
जैसा.
move that was added in, and it is back 1+2. Now I'm gonna tell you guys what I think.
Dragon
about
of the
this as
ठीक है
Zafina
जैसा
main,
भी है अब.
and why I think it's an issue actually. Now I don't think that Zaf needed a move like that, but they do want to play around this character as being someone who takes chip damage and
अच्छा
gives
Brian
chip
का
damage as
वाह.
well, right? So she takes chip damage herself, but this back 1+2 move, look at the chip that it does to both you and your opponent, and look at the
+6.
If this move has good tracking, I could literally just spam this against you, and we'll both be losing chip until we're 1 HP. And then next hit kills. Like, what can you do? Like, look at the pushback. I'm gonna just do back 1+2, back 1+2, back 1+2, and you're gonna keep on taking that push back to range 3, and then with Zafina's backdash, it's not like you could do anything, right? Her backdash is really good. Is it homing? If it is homing, then that's crazy. Then you know, like if it's homing, I think it is homing. Then look at the pushback and look at the chip. I think he keeps doing it. Look, let's have a look at the chip that it does.
Taunt.
So you keep doing it. Did you see how much chip?
Taunt मार पाएंगे Dragon of Flares.
I think that move is a problem, and I don't even need to ask you guys about that. I know you guys are also going to think that it's a problem as well. But I think maybe they thought that Zafina had some issue with tracking, even though I don't think that she did. Yeah, it's one of
Wall पे मुश्किल होता है dash करके double taunt track करके.
But she has forward 4, which is a homing mid. She has forward 2, which is a homing.
अगर tech roll किया तो.
High. And then she also now has running 1+2, which is a homing.
Ground पे रहे तो QCF4 भी अब grounded लगेगा नहीं. Down 2 मारना पड़ेगा.
In a way, and now they're giving her this back 1+2, which I think is kind of crazy. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna ask Joker. What do you think of this one, man? What's your opinion on this one, Joker?
I think Zafina needed better tracking. If we're being honest, like her homing moves weren't great enough. She didn't have good range, so they gave her 1+2.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, not a fan at all, honestly.
Just
I don't
stomp,
understand why it's a. Can you play it again? Why is it like off screen mid? Like it makes no sense whatsoever. It's safe as well. Like I don't get it.
ये Sweet Jeopardy भाई ये सब उल्टे सीधे moves चलाता है.
Plus which has
उसके लिए सही है.
Like it makes no sense, man. Like I don't get it, but I mean, I'm gonna play.
Look at
Online
the chip,
Evo player.
Look at the chip. I'm telling you, I'm just spamming this until we're both almost dead. Like that's what I'm gonna do. This is crazy, man. Fee, what do you think of this, man?
Yeah, you know, with that level of coverage in that move, with the level of coverage she has with running 1+2, I'm supposed to stand block. I think. I don't. Maybe I can go in and hit her if I'm fast enough, but
कितने plus हैं इसके?
at least when I play Steve, I have a problem hitting Zafina already.
EV plus
you know?
है.
So I don't know if I'm supposed to hit her. I don't know if I'm supposed to block. Like, is it parryable? Maybe not because it's Azazel's hand. I don't know. So like, I feel like this is just another case of. In case you haven't heard, the Tekken Talk Live for Season 2 and Anna Williams' release just concluded. These are 2 to 2.5 hour podcast-style live streams where the Tekken devs show up, demonstrate some of the new build, talk about some new announcements, and just in general go over their philosophies. Okay, the next character is King. So in a positive note, they have nerfed muscle armor. Muscle armor is now has a longer recovery, and he, instead of taking reduced damage, takes 100% of the damage during the Power Crush property. So one step forward. We were talking about muscle armor nerfing muscle armor in the podcast episode we did, skill issue episode 1, name pending. However, in line with what I believe will be the title of this video, one step forward, multiple steps back, 3 steps back, they have given King a new string.
हो भी सकता है भाई.
Is 3-2-2.
आज जोक ही हो ये.
Right here, high, mid, mid. If the second hit hits, the third hit is guaranteed. It is a chargeable string. If you charge the third hit or hit it, it goes into Jaguar Sprint with +9. And it's -13 on block if you don't charge it. We don't know the sidestep counterplay. We don't know other things about that. We will have to get the patch notes to see. Very happy for the King players. In Heat mode, King's Giant Swing and Shining Wizard are now homing. This was a change that was removed in the defense patch when they took away homing throws. It has been restored in King's Heat state. While you were thinking about what I was saying, you may have also noticed that Jin is taking chip damage for breaking the throw. And that is now a universal change in the Heat state. Any character in Heat doing a
Wall crush दिया था ना
chip
season
damage
4 में.
that cannot KO on someone who successfully breaks the throw. Yoshimitsu. His flash now recovers more slowly, so it's easier to whiff punch. That's the idea here. Very fair change, should have been that way. In exchange, 1 step forward, 3 steps back, they have given him a new move that goes into stance. Now, +9 in flee stance. Now, to be fair, the low is
wall bounce
reactable in this stance, but good Yoshimitsu players will dip down before they do the low to mix it up with the mid. Dips down during the mid. So I am not a big fan of stance offense in general. Yoshi was a stance character, so I can kind of vibe with this one.
आजिया को तो सबसे useless था wall bounce.
And into more offensive plays, I think it's kind of cool. So I'm usually a fan of that. But all of this will be difficult
After 5 years.
how strong it is until we get to now. They're showing here with the
हाँ balance होने में बहुत time लगेगा.
crouch. Yoshimitsu's unblockable low is not bufferable.
Chip damage अब एकदम ही हट जाएगा. Irrelevant.
But the impression they seem to be giving is that we thought about how OP this would
हर
be.
season chip damage कम करते रहे.
We've made it not bufferable. Now, I personally am not sure if that's even an issue. Maybe a good Yoshimitsu player would be able to time it anyways. So, we'll see. We will see. Jin Kazama finally receiving nerfs. 1 step forward, 3 steps back. However, in this case, I think there were 3 steps forward. 3 steps forward for Jin Kazama's nerfs. 2-1-4 is now -10 on block. So now it's a counter hit knockdown interruption read. Down 2, no longer counter hit launches, and in other footage we saw from the last Tekken talk, it has less tracking and less range. So very crucial. And up forward 2 is now -10.
हाँ पाकुराम का तो irrelevant ही कर दिया. कोई सबने खेलना बंद कर दिया.
Seems pretty close, so I think most characters
ना रुके क्या ये?
So I'm a big fan of the Jin Kazama nerfs. He's still, in my mind, probably going to be pretty strong.
Yeah.
2-1-4 being -10 is very nice. All right. And now for the buffs, because no characters seem to have gotten away with only nerfs. They have been buffed as well. So running 3 goes into Zen stance. The guy is still +2.
It's very easy.
Yeah, that. His down forward 4 is now a counter hit launcher. And I believe in the season 2 trailer it went into stance on normal. Now it is launched. So that's good.
अरे nice है. इसे पता है.
Tornado launcher. Also, chatter has informed me that it went from 25 frames to 21 frames, so it's designed to be less reactable. I disagree with this change very heavily. That Zen 1+2 is also made less reactable. This is what happened to Lars going into Tekken 7. They took the stance offense and decided this is how we want the character to play. We are less concerned with him being dominant in neutral, so we'll weaken his neutral because it was very overpowered in Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag 2. And instead, we are going to give him better stance protection. It appears to be the approach they're taking with Jin now. Where they're weakening his round 2, weakening his pokes, and instead giving him faster mix-ups out of stance. Is the neutral going to help Jin in neutral? It's actually not going to help Jin in neutral. It's going to help Jin out of offense because it's a move from stance. It's important that we use the word neutral precisely, I believe. He also gains this new move in Heat. A mid-demon paw into stance. We don't know the tracking of this move, but because he's spinning, I have a hunch that it's probably tracking well. And his Hell Sweep was not stagger after that. It's minus 14. I did not see that in my first watch through, I am not gonna lie. I was kind of tweaking when I first saw the Q changes, and on the live stream I looked away. Now that I am looking at what I'm seeing, I'm glad I looked away. Are there any other Jin changes they will show? They have turned Zen 1-2 into a launching
plus है ये.
Not the end of the world. That's something. Yeah, I think Jin Kazama has officially become cornier. Again, I'm not making statements about strength and balance. I'm making statements
Press नहीं किया इसने.
is the counterplay fun outside of guessing rock, paper, scissors. And if I were to summarize this patch, this feels like the casino rock, paper, scissors patch. When you imagine how you fight against Eddie, Lydia, Mars, and I'm not talking about just like your first time beating up, I'm talking about even how the high-level players play against each other. You ultimately are just doing some guessing whether you're matched. You don't want to get rated, so you'll probably take a down 4-1. There's a stance they'll go into where you
hard combo
feasible to get back to. The risk reward is not necessarily in the character's favor. It can be very risky. Like that Jin full touchdown before is long punishable. But it's not very fun and interesting to just guess mid or low. To guess if the homie move is coming, like when you look at Zafina. To guess if the homie move is coming at you or the linear move is coming at you. I think there's no
backswing.
like are they linear to one side specifically? If you think about Kazuya having that sidewalk left lead and creating timing games off of that, to me, is a very interesting form of Tekken. And it justifies Kazuya having strong moves like the Electric, like C1+2, like Demon Paw. If you look at Tekken historically, a lot of offense is very layered and have unique strengths and weaknesses. And what it feels like is officially with the Season 2 patch, again, pending the actual patch notes, I'm trying not to overreact or be a boomer, but it appears that their emphasis is to create more stable RPS situations that allow the attacker to have more fun and feel less outplayed. In their own words, they want defenders to feel like they want a newer players to feel like they have a chance to beat higher level players. To cope with that, let's look at this cool new Jin combo. I think there's a cool new animation they gave him. It was like, down back 2-4 or something. But yeah, they're giving a bunch of characters strong aerial tailspins. And in general, that's the new move. I'm in general...
अबे launch कर दिया.
Inclusivity and welcoming beginners and things like that. To a point. I feel that we are entering the point where we are also reducing the depth as the defender for higher level players and the depth as an attacker for higher level players. To be honest, even if you're a high level Zafina player, if you're not playing this game for a
Back for
pro,
manager.
you're still a pretty high level player. I don't think there's a lot of interest in throwing out the big funny back 1+2 sometimes, and then big throwing out the linear mid string some other times. You know, what about the movement? What about the whiff punishing? What about the counter hitting? You know. I feel like there's other cool parts of Tekken besides just swinging the big button. Anyways, that sums up most of the Tekken talk. Again, Anna Williams we will cover in a separate video. I tried to be generally positive, and that chat was a bit surprised by how it was actually. But YouTube may even be further surprised because I tend to be as possible on YouTube. That sums that up. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and a comment. We will be assessing Season 2 hopefully fairly when we have the patch notes and game in our hands. Until then, I wouldn't worry. I think that there's, there's plenty of games out there. I'm not married to Tekken in any way, so...
Round 3. Fight.
भाई आदू सेना सीजन 2 में बहुत नाम इसको डेकन काउंट करके बंद करूँ भाई और मुझे हिट क्यों लग जा रही है आहा -10 Hi Crush. अरे फिर बच गया ये
Get ready for the next battle. Get ready for the next battle.
नहीं नहीं टैगन गार्ड तो पहुंच जाऊंगा हॉर्ड डिस्ट्रक्शन में मजा आया था हाँ एक ही प्लेयर था वो भी इस टाइम मैच मिलना भी मुश्किल है वैसे
Get ready for the next
सीजन 2 में शायद बड़े प्लेयर्स
Get ready for the next battle.
अरे ऐसे ही खेल रहा हूँ अभी सीजन 2 जब तक नहीं आता.
Get ready for the next battle.
सीजन भाई कोई और है.
Round 1. Fight. 1, 2.
यहाँ से जा रहा हूँ. उसे पता है यार. Warrior शुरू.
Round 2. Fight.
Playing around.
Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight. Round 1. Fight. 1, 2. It's over.
जल्दी पनिश करो.
Round 2. Fight. Smash. Round 3.
मुझे आना ये.
Fight.
Very nice. Down for one, down for one.
Round 4. Fight.
Put it down. Back dash. Down two.
You win. Get ready for the next battle.
भेंट का सामान.
Get ready for the next battle.
अरे गेंड वर्सेस गेंड.
Round 1. Fight.
Nice. L combo. अरे तो लॉन्च कर सकता है. अरे न्यू अपडेट पता नहीं नेक्स्ट मंथ ही आएगा. ये आएगा. शिवम सेटअप. शिवम ब्लॉक किया था मैं. इनपुट ही नहीं गया.
Round 3. Fight.
2-1 2-1. FF2. Oh. Muscourge. All flat. Wow. Nice. Whole brain dead. अरे कटसीन देख रहा है क्या? पूरा वेट कराएगा भाई.
Get ready for the next battle.
Mob cancels. इतना slow क्यों?
Get ready for the next battle.
अरे तो जिन प्लेयर से खेल रहे हैं आजकल है नर्व से पहले खेल लो. राउंड शॉट 1+2 माइनस पे. अरे नाइस.
Round 2. Fight.
अरे नाइस गेम. L2.
Round 3. Fight.
L3. अब पनिशेबल सीजन 2 में पनिशेबल है. ओह नाइस. हो ट्रैक.
Round 4. Fight.
अरे टॉन्ट मारने लगा. लॉक इन हो गया. अरे फ्रेम्स नहीं थे. अरे FF2 FF2 मैशिंग कर दी अरे नाइस
Round 2. Fight.
नाइस Heat smash.
Round 3. Fight.
अरे ये क्या थाここで終わらせる
これがデビルの力だ。Round 4. Fight.
Very nice. Hit smash. Stuck नहीं हुआ. हाँ 8-6 में फिर DX था हाँ बाप रे डक क्यों कर रहा हूँ मैं डक क्यों कर रहा हूँ सेम IQ मिरर हाँ चलो मज़ा एक और आएगा एक और गेम साउंड में सब चला दिया उसने सब क्या ये बर्निंग ऐसे सेटअप खाएगा अरे फॉरवर्ड पर मार दिया
Fight.
Very nice. तू जिन प्लेयर थी खेल रहा है रैंक मुझे 2 मिल चुके हैं very nice हाँ अच्छा की हाँ जिन गेलो
Round 4. Fight.
अरे 2-1-4 तो यूज ही नहीं करना अरे हाँ ये पनिश है इसका 14 हिट स्मैश हिट स्मैश हिट स्मैश हिट स्मैश अबे
Final round. Fight.
वो FF2 के बाद डाउन 2 उसने ही मार दी
Get ready for the next battle.
पूरी राउंड में थी लेकिन मैंने रात नहीं नहीं कुछ ISP इशू होगा डेविल खेलना है तो टाइम लग रहा है लोड होने में.
Round one. Fight.
लैग हो रहा है. ओह ये तो तालिब जिन सेटअप चला रहा है. नाइस. इसका पीसी ब्लास्ट हो रहा है भाई. फॉरवर्ड टू.
Round two. Fight.
अरे बाप. नाइस यार.
Round three. Fight. Round four. Fight.
अरे नहीं चला दिया. नाइस.
Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight.
नाइस. शिने.
Round three. Fight.
डक क्यों कर रहा हूँ.
Round four. Fight.
और स्पेशल स्ट्राइक
Get ready for the next battle.
स्ट्रेस फ्री कैरेक्टर है यार ये तो एक्सेप्ट कर लो भाई फोर्टीन 5 years मिडिल ईस्ट ये एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहा
If this doesn't seem appealing to you, don't feel that it's the end of the world. There are lots of other things that can be done. Anyways, that's all. Have a good one. Peace.
हिस्ट्री चला गया हेडमैन से क्या कह रहे हैं
Think about her as a high damage character, but she is one of the heavy hitters. It's still Asuka. She's not a strong character. And with that new heat forward 2 extra hit when you're grounded, I just assume her damage is going to be stratospheric, especially with that. What is it? Up for 2, she jumps and slams you into the ground, and then she'll do the forward 2. I mean, she's going to hit super fucking hard with this stuff. Oh, double chin buffs, I'm assuming.
So down forward, left punch, right punch is a natural combo.
Oh, they made that natural. Okay, that's pretty scary. It's turned into one of these mid-high strings, right? Where you have to duck the second hit. Is it the fastest of these now? Because it starts from a 13. Down forward 1, 2, so you gotta...
Wall flat vanish है उसका
But you're so accustomed to seeing the down forward 1 animation. But yeah, that's gonna be heavy damage now. Knockdown, sets up Oki, wall splat, obviously.
ये बहुत cool था
Oh, they gave him...
Your opponent isn't gonna easily be able to duck.
Oh, he has a mid mix-up on it.
And with a mid option as well, so that your opponent isn't gonna easily be able to duck.
Oh shit, that all
Back to Devil Jin.
fucking knocks down.
Well, so that your opponent...
Wait, so from a down forward 1, he's gonna have a wall splatting mix-up. Minus 13. Okay, that one is minus 13. Morning Crow rule.
この上段ガードフローがついてます。He's got a LK が追加されてます。
Oh, and he gets a combo from straight on.
There's a new option from.
That's a big buff. But if they don't do anything to his mid options from Heat, because CD1+2 is reactable, I think, at 27 frames. And upward 3 for laser is just not that good, in my opinion. Oh.
こんな感じで消費量、ヒートの消費量とか
60 damage. Wait.
はい、during heat.
Hell's Sweep costs a little bit.
रैंक पे नहीं मिल रहा हाँ.
This combo, however, consumes no heat. I don't know how much these changes impact non-heat Hell Sweep, how much the combo damage has gone up there. But so in heat, very little resources used to get a 60 damage Hell Sweep. That's a huge buff. But, has to be said, if his mids remain the same, I gotta say, you know, it's not earth-shattering. Muscle armor is nerfed. I mean, everyone saw that one coming.
This is a new attack.
Oh man, that string is fucking cool though. It looks sick. Oh shit.
You can also hold, and then you can also go into Jaguar Sprint.
But so he takes full damage now when he absorbs attacks in muscle armor. That's very fair. Oh, while saying 2-2 into sprint. That's new, right?
Transition to the Jaguar Sprint.
Parang. अरे यूट्यूबर है ये तो LLB कर रहा है. Nice. Nice.
Round 2. Fight.
ठग कर रहा है. फर्जी रह यार फर्जी. Jin के बाद Devil Jin. High crush. Comeback की कोशिश. Good job. क्या यार इलेक्ट्रिक क्यों नहीं लग रहा है? खत्म. स्टैंड में नहीं गया. 1 2 3 4. Sword Saint AC. Devil की बेसिक चीजें. अरे नाइस. I was trying to do another. Down back 3. Ah, nice. Oh. लेना की अरे थ्रो कर दिया. रेना तो बफ हो रही है लग रहा है मुझे. डाउन बैक 2. वो पावर क्रश मार देगा. डाउन बैक 2. बैक 4 के बाद हिट बर्स्ट. अरे शिट डक कर लिया. कब रिकवरेबल है पर ये वॉल पहुंच जाएगा तो दैट साइज काउंटर हिट हाँ माइनस पे दबाओ बहुत सही क्या कर रहा हूँ -8 पे पता नहीं कैसे चल जाता है हीट बस Owl gang.
Round 2. Fight.
Pack one सही ऑप्शन है down by 4 combo क्या है इसका ये intelligent setup Nintendo Direct Switch जो नया आया है ये पनिश नहीं कर सकते शायद नाइस यार ये कर सकते हैं और I'm specialist
Round 4. Fight.
हाँ सच स्टेप डक करना डक कर रहा है नाइस फिर माइनस पे फिर
Final round. Fight.
एलसीफ की कमी हो रही है अभी नेचुरल डक क्यों कर रहा है ये मॉर्निंग ग्रोव है भी अनब्लॉकेबल हाई नहीं आया भाई सीजन 2 में आएगा
Get ready for the next battle.
ये लिंक ट्री में है सब Gang, Pepso gang. World War trending.
अजय भाई आज क्या सिखा रहे हो? भाई आज सिखाऊंगा मैं आपको, जैसे कई मेरे भाई पूछते हैं होल्ड कैसे मारते हैं, ठीक है? एक बार आगे सी बनाया, एक बार आगे सी बनाया, ठीक है? उसके बाद बटन दबाना है, 1 सेकंड रुक के, 2 सेकंड रुक के, ठीक है भाई? लेकिन इसी के अंदर कई भाई मेरे ये भी पूछते हैं मेरे से, भाई करंट वाला होल्ड के लिए आपको प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी, ठीक है? धीरे धीरे प्रैक्टिस करोगे हो जाएगी, करंट वाला होल्ड भी लग जाएगा। इसी तरीके की वीडियो देखने के लिए चैनल को फॉलो और लाइक करें, ठीक है भाई? ओके। टूर्नामेंट ध्यान प्लेयर आज की बेसिक मूव बेसिक
चीजें
एक्शन सीखते हैं, ठीक है? आप सबके साथ शेयर करता हूँ। तो आज का ब्लॉग ब्रियान प्लेयर के ऊपर।
भाई ब्रायन के बाल कहाँ हैं इसमें? टैग 1 में
तो
हिटमैन
हम सीखेंगे 2 बार हैंडल आगे करके ये लाभ बटन ये वाला है, 2 बार हैंडल आगे करके ये वाला
फॉरवर्ड
जैसे करेंगे तुरंत दबा देंगे, ठीक है? उसके बाद हैंडल आगे करके लात 2 बार आगे करके, जैसे वाली लात मान ली
फॉरवर्ड 3
वैसे ही एक बार दिखा दो, 2 बार आगे करके ये वाली, ठीक है? जैसे करेंगे वैसे ही 2 बार आगे करके ये वाली। इसके बाद ये वाला मुक्का 2 बार आगे करके, ठीक? बटन दिखाओ, 2 बार आगे करा ये वाला मुक्का, ठीक है? अब हैंडल पीछे करके पहले दिखा दो,
वॉल्यूम तो बहुत बढ़ गया
ये हो गया।
फुल है।
अब इसी में लात भी मारता है, लात भी बता देता हूँ, है ना? अभी दोनों चीज के बटन बता दूंगा, हाथ भी मारता है लात भी मारता है, ठीक है? तो आ जाओ, हैंडल पीछे करके 1 2 3 दबाएंगे तो लात मारेगा, 1 2 3 दोनों चीज दिखाओ एक साथ, 1 2 1 2 3 1 1
नाइस,
ठीक है? 1
तो होमिंग लग रहा है।
और उसके बाद 1 पास से लाओ, अगर हैंडल पीछे करके हम 1 1 1 दबाएंगे तो मुक्का मारेगा ऊपर का। अब दोनों चीज एक साथ दिखाओ, हैंडल पीछे रखना 1 1, ठीक? इसके बाद मान लो कोई प्लेयर कोई एक्शन चला रहा है, दूर से कोई चीज मार रहा है ना? तो हैंडल पीछे करके 2 बार ये
विफ पनिशर
पीछे करके बटन दिखाओ, 2 बार पीछे करते के साथ ही वाला बटन लात का, ठीक है? उसके बाद ये लात
वो कितना फास्ट निकल जाए,
आगे की तरफ तिरछा करके, आगे की तरफ तिरछा करके, ठीक है? वो एक और लात दिखाओ, यही लात आगे की तरफ तिरछा करके,
नीचे रहे
आगे की तरफ तिरछा करके, आगे की तरफ तिरछा करके ये भी थी, आगे की तरफ तिरछा करके ये भी है, ठीक है? अब ये
राउंड फॉरवर्ड
एक मुक्का मारेगा, ये आगे की तरफ, ये आगे की तरफ 1 और 1 2 कर देंगे तो दोनों मुक्के मारेगा एक साथ, 1 2, ठीक है? हाँ, लेकिन आगे की तरफ हम आगे की तरफ तिरछा करके ये वाला भी मार सकते हैं और ये वाला भी मार सकते हैं, पर ये वाला मारेंगे जल्दी जल्दी तो बहुत सारे मुक्के मारेगा। दिखा दो एक बार पहले,
दिखाओ
ठीक है?
क्या एनिमेशन,
5-6 मुक्के मारता है ना? आगे को तिरछा करके, अब दिखाओ बटन, आगे को तिरछा करके ये आगे को तिरछा करके ये, ठीक है? साथ में ये वाला सिर्फ सिंगल बटन दबाना, ये वाला आगे की तरफ तिरछा करके। अब
1 4
पहले पूरा एक्शन दिखाएंगे, अब देखो दिखा ये वाले बटन दबाने तिरछे, हैंडल छोड़ के दोनों एक साथ, है ना? ऐसे करके 1 2 एक साथ नहीं दबाने, 1 2 जल्दी से 1 2 ऐसे दबा दे, 1 2 जल्दी से 1 2 1 2, है ना? 1 2 दबाते के साथ ही फिर ये वाला मतलब 1 2 दबाते के साथ ही ऊपर के दोनों दबाने लग जाना, तो सामने मुक्का मार देगा। अगर 1 2 दबा दिए ये और फिर ये, तो फिर लात मारेगा। दिखा देता हूँ एक बार। ये अब इसमें क्या करना है, मैं 1 2 दबाए, पहले वाला दबाना ऊपर का, फिर नीचे का, ऐसे
बेसिक चीज है।
1 2 ठीक है। 1 2 दबाते के साथ ही ये और ये वाला बटन दबाना, उसके बाद तो लात मार देगा। ठीक है। अगर हम ये दोनों दबा के ऊपर के दोनों दबाएंगे तो मुक्के मार देगा 3। दिखा देता हूँ ये वाले, और अगर हम ये दबाएंगे ये मार देगा। ठीक है, यही लात तो बता दी थी मैंने, है ना। अब आते हैं इस पे,
ये क्या है,
ये
राइट स्टेप 1।
ओके। ये इस मुक्के के लिए क्या करना है, हमें हल्का सा ऊपर करना है, बटन दबाना है, 1 सेकंड रुक के, ऐसे तुरंत नहीं दबाना, 1 सेकंड रुक के, ये ठीक है। और एक ये वाला मुक्का, ये भी साइड बदल के साइड में जाके प्लेयर को हल्का सा ऊपर करते ही साइड जाते हैं। ठीक है, पहले तो ये देख लो, हैंडल हल्का सा ऐसे करना, हल्का सा ऊपर करा, फिर बटन दबाया, रुक के 1 सेकंड। ठीक है, अगर हम हल्का सा ऊपर करके 1 2 दबा देते हैं तो ये वाला मुक्का मारेगा। अगर 1 2 दबा देते हैं तो ये वाला मुक्का मारेगा, ये वाला। ओके, ये पहले ये वाला दबाना, ये वाला साइड बदल के पूरा 1 2 1 2। ठीक है साथियों, फिर बिठा लिया हमने प्लेयर को, हैंडल छोड़ते ही वाला बटन दबाना है।
बिठा लिया फिशरमैन।
ये देखो
अरे बटन
ये वाला
मैशिंग कर रहे हैं जस्ट।
ये पटकी कैसे मारनी है, हैंडल बिठा लिया, हैंडल छोड़ते ही बटन दबाना,
फिशरमैन
छोड़ते
पटकी
बटन दबा के हैंडल आगे करके दोनों बटन दबा देने। ठीक है, बिठा लिया, हैंडल छोड़ते ही वाला बटन, ये वाला मुक्का मारता है।
ठीक है साथियों,
एकदम एक दबा के दोनों हैंडल आगे करके दबा देना, ये ठीक है। ये मारेगा असली वाली पट्टी, दिखा दो एक बार, दोनों चीज दिखाओ एक बार। ये है असली वाली
कॉम्बो नहीं मिलता था क्या?
एक दबा के दोनों हैंडल छोड़ के दबाना, पर एक ही वाला बटन, एक ऐसे एक दबाता के साथ ही दोनों।
मछुआरा पटकी
एक, हाँ एक दबाना है।
बहल का है ब्रांड,
मेरे को ध्यान नहीं रहा, बटन है ना एक ही दबाना है, ये वाला हैंडल आगे कर लेना बस। बिठाया, हैंडल छोड़ते साथ ही बटन दबाया, है ना। भूल चूक हो जाती है थोड़ी सी, ये
हाँ इतना तो चलता है,
साइड में चलता है। ठीक है, यही बटन दबाते रहना है जल्दी जल्दी, हैंडल छोड़ के हैंडल आगे रखना है बस, ये याद रखना है। हैंडल छोड़ा बटन दबाया, लेकिन हैंडल छोड़ते के साथ ही जल्दी जल्दी आगे कर लेना, हैंडल उठा के छोड़ते के साथ ही आगे, ऐसे। हाँ, आगे की तरफ सी बना देना, ऐसे।
हाँ सी बना सकते हैं,
ऐसे। ठीक है, ये हो गया। अब एक पटकी हो गई, 2 बार आगे को तिरछा करके आगे की तरफ 2 बार तिरछा करना है। जैसे प्लेयर बिठा लिया तो ऊपर के दोनों बटन है, पहले बताई थी, एक बटन से ऊपर के दोनों बटन है, आगे को तिरछा करके 2 बार नीचे की तरफ ही, आगे की साइड तिरछा करना है 2 बार, ऐसे बिठा के, ऐसे। एक बार दिखा दी पटकी, एक बार।
ये कौन सी है?
ठीक है, बटन दिखा दो, बिठा लिया, आगे की तरफ 2 बार तिरछा करा, बैठे में ही बिठा के रखना प्लेयर को, आगे की तरफ 2 बार तिरछा करके बटन दबा देना, ये लग जाएगी दूसरी पटकी। ठीक है, और कहा क्या, और
हैचेट वगैरह तो थी नहीं शायद। ओह टॉन्ट,
ये कई चीजों में
बेसिक चीज है,
करता वाला है, कार्ड देता है ना। इसमें मतलब कई कमांड भी रखी है, कॉम्बो भी अपने हिसाब से देख लेना आप क्या इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो इस चीज में, है ना। काफी वीडियो भी पड़ी है, बाकी मैं शॉर्ट वीडियो बनाता रहूँगा, है ना, इनके ऊपर। ये कुछ स्पेशल मूव होते हैं ना। अब ये उल्टा सी बनाया, ये उल्टा सी बनाया, बटन दिखा दे, उल्टा सी बनाया, ये उल्टा सी बनाया, ये
क्यूसी भी था,
ये प्लेयर को सामने हवा में उड़ा देता। उसके बाद अब कुछ भी एक्शन मार सकते हो। ठीक, और क्या था बिरयानी का, ये सिखा दिया, ये 3 बटनों से, ये बताइए 3 बटन
टॉन्ट नहीं दिखा रहे हैं अजय भाई, अभी
3 बटन दबाने, तो ये अलग से
बेसिक चीज नहीं है लगता,
एक साथ दबाने 3 बटन, ये अलग से करेगा। ठीक, और इसकी हिट बता देता हूँ, अच्छा हाँ, एक चीज़
हिट।
जैसे कोई मुक्के चला रहा है आपके सामने तो हैंडल पीछे करके 2 बटन दबा देना। ये है मुक्के पकड़ लेते हैं ये जैसे कोई पंच चला रहा है, जैसे लीप ले रहा, पंच चला रहा बार कोई हमें परेशान कर रहा है तो हैंडल पीछे करके 2 बटन दबाने, फिर पंच हटा के मारेगा। हाँ जल्दी दबाने, 2 बार दबा देना जल्दी तो पंच हटा भी देगा और साथ में अटैक भी मारेगा उसके ऊपर। ठीक है, ये हो गया। और पटकियाँ हो गई है ना। अब क्या बता रहा हूँ मैं, हाँ ये स्लिप, 2 बार हैंडल आए करके स्लिप, हर वीडियो में जैसे मैं बताता हूँ कि
हाँ ये तो बफर हो जाता है।
फिर भाई कमेंट करते हैं भैया आपने ये नहीं बताया। ठीक है, डाई और स्लिप का आसान तरीका है, ज़्यादातर वीडियो में बता रखा है मैंने। बदलते के साथ ही 2 बार आए करना है, चेंज करते के साथ ही 2 बार आए करना है। बटन दबाने, रुक के 1 सेकंड, बदला 2 बार आए कर दिया, बटन दबाया रुक के, बदला 2 बार आए कर दिया, बटन दबाया रुक के। ठीक है, बदला 2 बार आए कर दिया, बटन दबाया रुक के। ठीक, ऐसी स्लिप का है, बदला 2 बार आए करा, सेम तरीका है। ठीक, और अब आ जाए
गाइड वीडियो
होंगी सारी चीज़ें लगू है ना। हिट बता दो, हिट बहुत आसान है, कॉम्बो जो है बिरयानी की ये।
और एक कीचार्ज भी है बीच में। अच्छा कीचार्ज नहीं था।
हैंडल पीछे करा, हैंडल पीछे रखना, एक दबाते के साथ ही चारों दबा देना। ये मैं अपनी तरफ से एक तरीका बता रहा हूँ। हाँ वैसे तो हैंडल पीछे करके 1 2 फिर चारों दबा दो है ना, पर मेरा एक अपना ही तरीका है, 1 दबा के चारों दबा देना, अपना हिट मारने लग जाएगा। ठीक है, और एक ये एक्शन हो गया ये।
हाँ ये अच्छी स्ट्रिंग है ब्रायन गागा।
Round 1. Fight. Over here.
Grounded, okay.
Round 2. Fight. Over here.
How to accidentally वही मैं कहूँ 10 हिट में कीचार्ज कहाँ से कर रहे हैं।
Round 4. Fight.
Optimal Devil Jin. अरे कोई बात नहीं, कौन खेले चीप।
For the next battle.
तो इसके लिए करना एक बार दबाना, एक ठीक है, एक ऐसे। अब ये हैंडल पीछे रखना है,
ये बैक वन तो बताया नहीं था।
ये वाला मुक्का मार देना, ये वाला हैंडल पीछे रख के ये वाला, ये सामने वाले प्लेयर को गद्दे की तरह उछाल देता है। इसके बाद आप
गद्दे की तरह
मार सकते हो, एक्शन लगते हैं है ना। और हैंडल पीछे रख के ये वाला, ये सामने वाले प्लेयर को गद्दे की तरह उछाल देता है। इसके बाद आप बहुत सारी चीज़ें मार सकते हो, एक्शन लगते हैं, है ना। और
一番好きなプレイヤーは
बदले की तरह उछाल देगा भाई।
ठीक है भाई। तो ये था आज हमारा जो टैग टूर्नामेंट नीना प्लेयर बेसिक
इसमें बाल आ गए ब्रायन के।
जो शुरुआत कर रहे हैं, खेलना सीख रहे हैं, उन भाइयों के लिए। वैसे तो ज़्यादातर सभी भाइयों को आती हैं। और भाई आपका बहुत धन्यवाद, 10,000 सब्सक्राइबर हो गए,
10,000 हो गए
आपकी मदद से, है ना। तो सबका भाई बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। ठीक, अब बताता हूँ बेसिक चीज़ें। पहले शुरुआत करते हैं। कई वीडियो में भूल जाता हूँ पावर। ये है पावर, ठीक। ये पावर मारने के लिए क्या करेंगे, ये दो बटन है ऊपर के, हैंडल पीछे को तिरछा करके एक साथ दबाने हैं। हाँ, बटन और हैंडल दोनों एक साथ, ठीक। अब आ जाते हैं इस पे, ये लात हाथ, हैंडल नीचे करके ये दबा के ये
लात हाथ,
ठीक जी। और एक ये वाली चीज है इसकी नीना की, ये है ना, ये हमको पूरा
लॉन्चर है ये।
सी नहीं बनाना, सी बनाना तिरछा, आगे तक तिरछा ऐसे करके। तो ये वाला हाथ मारेगी। एक बार दोनों चीज दिखा दो, हाँ दोनों चीज दिखा दो। ये ऐसे करके आगे को ये हैंडल ऐसे सी बनाना है, लेकिन रखना इसको आगे की तरफ, नीचे को तिरछा है। ओके।
हाँ, किंग का स्टेज।
और पावर के, ये मैंने पावर बताई थी अभी, पावर को रोकना ही बता देता हूँ। ये जैसे ही हम पावर बनाएंगे, हैंडल ऊपर को कर देंगे 2 बार, ठीक है।
इतनी अजीब सी
2 बार ऊपर कर देना है, पावर रुक जाएगी, पावर नहीं मारेगी। ये क्या करना है, हमने पावर बनाई, 2 बार ऊपर को कर दिया, पावर बनाई 2 बार ऊपर को कर दिया, पावर बनाई 2 बार ऊपर को कर दिया, पावर रुक जाएगी।
छोटी पावर बड़ी पावर का भी नहीं पता।
एक ये चीज है, ये हैंडल नीचे करके
गाइड देख लेना, उसमें बताएंगे छोटी पावर बड़ी पावर कैसे यूज करना है। हाँ, टेक्टन 8 में सिर्फ बड़ी पावर है।
Round 3. Fight.
चीप में है भाई, ऑप्टिमल है। नाइस। फ्रेम्स नहीं है रिजल्ट के लिए।
Round 4. Fight.
सही है भाई, मेन मैन को फुल सपोर्ट है।
You win. Round 1. Fight.
LMJ ऑप्टिमल डिवीजन। Next
Round 2. Fight.
अरे सब डिग जैब क्यों मारते हैं इसके बाद?
Round 3.
कनेक्शन में क्या हो गया? मैं क्यों करता हूँ? कौन सा? तो मैं तो भूल भी गया।
Round 4. Fight.
डक कर लेता है, सब ब्लॉक करना चाहिए था।
Final round. Fight.
राउंड स्टार्ट। बैक फोर चिपकाना चाहिए था इसे डैश के बाद। अरे और
Fight.
नहीं डिग जैब सही है, बैक फोर मार दूंगा अगली बार। अरे लॉन्च, अरे वॉल जाएगा।
Fight.
Optimal division. अरे नाइस सेटअप लॉन्च करता है तो कुछ नया दिखा दिया आज इसमें फुलसी अरे नहीं यार ब्लॉक किया था
Round 4. Fight.
बच गए बैक फोर अरे बैक फोर मिला
Final round. Fight.
बैक फोर स्टीव बना दिया ऑप्टिमल अरे नाइस रिचार्ज ओह नाइस अरे बैक वन oh.
Get ready for the next battle.
राइट से कर रहा है फिर से एशिया वन बर्निंग एसेस अरे भाई ये आ गए नीना कैसे खेल रहे हैं बैक टू टेकन किंग क्या इसके पहले क्या रैंक
Round 1. Fight.
नाइस अरे जैब कहाँ है
Round 2. Fight.
oh nice क्यों किया ये
Round 3. Fight.
अभी नीना के गाइड देख रहा था मैं लॉन्ड बॉम्ब फिर बैक टर्न लेजर लग जाता है. हाँ of course. -4 है.
Round 4. Fight.
On bomb. Slide. Oh shit. Oh nice. बच गया. YOLO up, 1 YOLO up 4.
Final round. Fight.
Slide. Yes.
Round 1. Fight.
Very nice. Combo. Down for 1. Up double chain. नीना की पटकी.
Round 2. Fight.
क्यों फजी करने लगता हूँ. जैब चेक कर लेना चाहिए था. नीना की पटकी. हाँ पटकी मारो. 1 ब्रेक है ये. 2 कर रहा हूँ.
Round 3. Fight.
बैक फुट चेक करना है. Nice.
Die in silence.
अरे जस्ट है. स्लाइड. नहीं.
Going somewhere?
करो.
Round 1. Fight.
मुझे लगा -10 लाइन शायद।
Round 2. Fight.
-12. ट्रेड हो गया। मीना हैंडल करना मुश्किल है। वॉल वाह। Blizzard.
Round 4. Fight.
हाँ नाइस, न्यूट्रल है ऑन इट।
Final round. Fight.
Oh, round start. GG's. Sorry.
That was disappointing.
Get ready for the next battle.
प्रेम से नहीं ले सकता अपने। ऑन हिट कितना है ये? -6। इलेक्ट्रिक मार देना चाहिए। पता नहीं कब मैच मिलेगा।
हैंडल नीचे करना, छोड़ देना हैंडल को तुरंत। नीचे करके मुक्का मारा, हैंडल छोड़ गए। ये अब दिखा दो इधर कैसे क्या करना है। हैंडल को नीचे करके एकदम छोड़ देना है, ऐसे करके ऐसे, ये ठीक। और यही चीज जल्दी लगती है, उसके लिए ये वाला बटन इस्तेमाल करेंगे। एक बार दिखा दो, देखो देखो अभी तो मैं स्लो मार रहा हूँ, अब यही चीज जल्दी लगेगी, ये देखो ये, ठीक। तो इसके लिए क्या करेंगे, इस वाले बटन को इस्तेमाल कर लेंगे, बटन दिखाओ, हाँ यही चीज जल्दी मारने के लिए ये दबा के ये जल्दी से, ये बहुत थोड़ा सा जल्दी करना पड़ेगा, ये ठीक। अब पटकी, इसकी पटकी लेने के लिए ऊपर सी बनाया 2 बटन, ये पटकी लेने का तरीका, सी बनाया 2 बटन, बटन 1 सेकंड रुक के दबाना है, ठीक है। दिखा दो एक बार, ऐसे हमने हैंडल घुमाना, पहले घुमाना है, बटन बाद में दबाने हैं, ये नीना की पटकी पकड़ने के लिए, ओके। ये आप शॉर्ट वीडियो में देख सकते हो, मैंने 3-4 पटकी सब तरह की बता रखी है शॉर्ट वीडियो में नीना की, है ना। बाकी कोई रह गई हो तो कमेंट करके बता देना, मैं वही बता दूंगा और पटकियों के लिए, ठीक। ये वाली होगी। अब इसी तरीके से एक मिनट, प्लेयर घूम गया,
साइड स्टेप इतने अजीब से थे इसमें,
है ना। जैसे सी बना के ऊपर की पटकी पकड़ेंगे, वैसे ही
हम पीछे चले
नीचे से पकड़ेंगे, ठीक है। ये ठीक, ये देखो सी बनाया, 2 दबाए, तुरंत पटकी ले लेंगे, आगे की तरफ सी बनाना है, ओके। एक और दिखा दो, हाँ ये देखो, दिखा दो एक बार सबको, यहाँ पे सी बनाया, नीचे के दोनों एक साथ दबाने, फिर पटकी ले लेंगे, हाँ ये सी दबाया, ठीक है। और एक पटकी है इसकी, ये पकड़ती है, सिंपल पटकी है, ठीक है। इसी में 2 पटकी होती हैं, ठीक है। इसमें 2 पटकी होती हैं, जैसे हमने ये 2 दबाए, देखिए इसको बटन 2 दबा के पकड़ ली, 1 2 3, ठीक है। 1 2 3 दबाए तो 7, बहुत जल्दी
वही प्रोमो ले लेना चाहिए था उसे, आराम से
1 2 3 2
बस तो ट्रोलिंग,
हाँ इस तरीके से, ओके। और एक एक्शन इसका ये वाला है, ये हैंडल नीचे करके 1 2, अब दिखाओ बटन, ये नीचे करके ये 1 2, हाँ ये ठीक। ये वाला हाथ बता दिया मैंने, सी बना के, है ना, हाँ। और एक पटकी इसकी ऐसे पकड़ते हैं, ये देखो इन दोनों बटन से, तिरछे बटन से, हाँ ये ठीक। एक बार दिखा दो, हाँ ये दोनों चीज दिखा दो एक बार। ये पीछे को सी बनाएंगे, बटन रुक के दबाएंगे, जब ये पीछे को ऐसे गैप ले लेगी, ये ओके। ये अब आ जाते हैं इस पे, 2 बार हैंडल आगे करके ये गिरना,
ओ फिर से आ गया, लास्ट खेलता हूँ।
Get ready for the next battle. Round 1. Fight.
डैश ब्लॉक, क्यों बोल रहा हूँ, ये बात रश कर दो, अच्छा।
2. Fight.
Whatever.
Round 3. Fight.
Yes, sir. ये वॉल कम अच्छा है. Nice. वाह 5 लाख पहुंच जाएगा. नाइस. वॉल गारंटी. ये लो पता नहीं कितनी जाएगी. सेम है क्या?
Time up. Round 4. Fight.
हाँ फिर से हो गया. नाइस. Down for one.
Final round. Fight.
डैश ब्लॉक क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा मैं सही से. टाइमिंग बहुत अच्छी है डाउन फॉर 2 की. अरे खत्म गया. क्या मैशर हूँ मैं. पूछ रहे हो क्या? मतलब समझ नहीं आया कैसे फाइट करा मतलब.
Fight.
बेस्ट फार आएंगे वहाँ का मुझे नहीं लगता. पर सही है. अरे शिट. अरे हिट में नहीं हूँ. अरे यार मैं चैट पढ़ने लगा. नाइस.
Round
वो डेक्स्टर है.
fight.
हाँ नाइस नाइस. कितना प्लस है ये. आहा. तुम तो कुमा वुमा खेलते हो, मुझे नहीं पता यार कुमा कैसे है, उसके साइड स्टेप अच्छे नहीं है। अरे डक नहीं हुआ। तुम्हारा जिन मैंने देखा नहीं है ना। लैग में क्या ही पता चलेगा। नाइस। तुम्हारा तो लैग वैग भी होता है यार, बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स हैं तुम्हारे में। लैग में क्या ही सर्च है। ना क्या कर रहा हूँ। हाँ जितना खेलोगे उतना थोड़ा इजी हो जाता है। डक करना चाहिए। तुम्हारा तो जिन खराब हो गया होगा, तुमने पता नहीं कब से जिन खेला ही नहीं है। पांडा कुमार लगा। मजा आ रहा है मीना के अगेंस्ट। यार इतने देर से क्यों मैच मिलते हैं, मुझे समझ नहीं आता। जब दो ही प्लेयर्स हैं रैंक्ड में तब भी इतना टाइम लग रहा है, शायद कंसोल पे और मैच मिल रहा होंगे। हाँ जितने ज़्यादा प्लेयर्स रहेंगे उतना इजी। वही है ये, वही है। वही है, लियो खेलेगा अब। बैक फोर बढ़िया मिड चेक है। गुड नाइट। नहीं बंदी कर रहा हूँ, मुझे नहीं लगता कोई मिलेगा। नहीं मैं तो टेकन बॉडी तक जा रहा था। और 2 बार कुछ खाने जा रहे हो क्या? पैच नोट्स आए यार जल्दी। कुछ डेट ही बता दे कब आएंगे। ऐसे भी रैंक रीसेट ही होनी है। मैं बंद ही कर रहा हूँ अब, लगता है वो भी चले गए सोने। मज़ा आ गया उनके नीना के अगेंस्ट। फेस ऐप ये क्या होता है? तो ये कुछ फेस एडिटर। तो बहुत पहले चलता था, तो नहीं आया था। वही मैच मिल गया क्या? नहीं अच्छा, चलो बंद करो।
Who was my first fight? I don't even Nina. Like, bro, what is this? No, not a single Kazuya. Not a no. I knew how to fight Tekken 7 80. I didn't know how to fight this one. I knew the 80 full charts on Tekken 7, but when they switched them up and everything, it's completely different for me. Bruh, come on.
हाँ जा रहा हूँ सोने। वो नहीं जा रहा हूँ।
That's why I was so fucking. That's why I was kind of mad when they switched up 80, because I was like, damn, I actually know how to fight the nigga on T7. Oh. No, it does not. All his shit is different now. Dog, nobody's fucking crouching these today, bro. I mean, nobody's fucking.
लो गुड नाइट भाई, पैच नोट्स का वेट करते हैं।
That shit didn't kill. I'm meaning his strings. Yeah, his strings are fucking different.